Hello, SMITE fans, and welcome back to the SMITE Pro League, brought to us by our good friends over at Prime Gaming. If you've taken a look through the Prime Gaming catalog and you've seen any of the games that kind of spark your eye or maybe catch your interest a little bit there, then make sure that you pick those up by getting a Prime Gaming membership. First, you got to get a Prime membership and then link that over to your Twitch account so you can get those free games, get that free in-game content, and that free Twitch subscription to your favorite streamer out there. And then with the Prime membership, you get free shipping, all the stuff you were probably already going to buy. Now you can get it just a little bit faster and not have to pay the additional shipping. So thank you so much to Prime Gaming for being the title sponsor of Season 9 of the SMITE Pro League. We're done with our first two sets, and we move into our third and final one of our triple header Sunday. It's J-Mac. I got Trelly joining me on the desk to help me out. And it should be a big one, Trelly. Number 1 seed, Atlantis Leviathans. Tartarus Titans sitting at that 5th seed, but trying to close up that gap. And we always talk about it, this constant rematch of that World's Finals between these teams. Where do they stand now, 10 months later almost?
Wow, you just put that into perspective for me. It actually is 10 months later. But I think both of these teams have been heating up, right? It's been, the Tartarus Titans have been back and forth. They picked up Stuart in the duo lane over Cyclone Spin as of recent, and that's been a bit of a change that I was wondering how long will it take for the Tartarus Titans to get used to, right? So I think they've been definitely heating up. It's finally really coming into fruition there. Their team chemistry, they've been looking good.
It's been a very long weekend so far, Trelly, with a triple header yesterday, triple header today. You may have forgotten everything that's happened so far throughout the week. And, well, here's a look back at the schedule to see everything that you may have missed or that you may have forgotten that had already happened through some wins across the board for the Jade Dragons. Olympus Bolts have been able to find a couple of wins of their own. Tartarus Titans and Leviathans have also been able to start their weeks off strong with 2-0s for the two of them. And then the match that you just missed, Valhalla Valkyries found a 2-1 win over the Camelot Kings to give themselves a big, nice confidence boost. Make sure you go back for sure and watch that set. But don't do it right now. Wait, because we've got a great one to close out our Sunday. Atlantis Leviathans and Tartarus Titans, the third and final match. Taking a look at the standings now, Valkyries able to bump themselves up to that 7th seed because of it. But it's the number 1 Atlantis Leviathans sitting 7-1. Only one team has been able to take them down so far. Tartarus Titans trying to come back on that rise, sitting only one win away from joining the Oni Warriors and the Camelot Kings now, and potentially having a 3-way tie with a 5-4 record right there in the middle of the pack.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There is a lot tied up at 5-4. I didn't even realize. So a win here would be massive for the Tartarus Titans, and especially a big confidence boost, right? Being able to take down the number 1 team. And I think because they've been heating up so much, they've got the tools to be able to go for it.
Yeah, they've got a lot of tools at their disposal. A new hunter that's been able to fit really well over into their role. Stuart over for the Tartarus Titans has been joining Aror in that duo lane. We've been seeing a lot of change-ups over there as well, whether that be the team communication, whether that be just the play style in general. In fact, I'm also being told that it might be a special birthday for somebody on the Tartarus
Titans.
We
got a birthday boy?
Yeah, I think I've been told that it might be Auror's birthday. I mean, I've been seeing some rumblings on social media. You know, social media can sometimes lie. Maybe we can get some confirmation from the man himself. Aror standing by for a pregame interview with Dulcin.
With me, and Aurora, first and foremost, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me thank me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Is it also Paul's birthday? Is that true? Is that also Paul's?
True, yeah.
What are the odds that it's yours and Paul's birthday at the same time? That's unbelievable. What do you want for your birthday, Aurora? Would you like a win over the Atlantis Leviathans?
Just good smite.
Really, win or lose, you just want good smite?
Just want to have fun.
Fair enough. You guys have been having fun in your last couple of matchups. Early in Phase 3, tough to find consistency. Now a 2-win streak for this team. Feels like you've remained creative, though. Feels like some of the team comps kind of getting back to the theory crafting style that you guys played. Do you think this is a good time of year and an important time of year to start doing that, really get the compositions and the strategies built out for playoffs and Worlds?
Yep. It's as long as we're having fun with it and just trying things out, it's definitely going to be really good.
Now, recently your lane changed up a little bit. Stuart joining this squad, figured there'd be a little bit of time where you two would build up some synergy, get onto the same page. How's that been going? You think you're getting close to firing on all cylinders with Stu?
Yeah, Stu's really good. He's really easy to work with, and he's been a good lane partner.
Now, I'm curious, you know, the story duo lane at this point of the Leviathans, you're going up against Ronngyu and Zapman. Specifically those two, do you feel like you have to change your play style up when you end up running into Ronngyu and Zap, or are you still able to play your game as you intend it?
For lane, you just kind of do what you do normally, and you don't really change things up based on who you're playing on. If you're playing good, you're going to do good, and if you're playing bad, you're going to do bad. So as long as you play the way that you've always played, you give yourself a good shot at winning.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of fun to watch you guys play. And really, I was talking to a lot of the other casters. Feels like this weekend in general has just been a little more chaotic as far as SMITE goes. The ending of the last set where the Valkyries were able to pull things out was a lot of fun watching you guys earlier on here this weekend as well. Obviously, things have been a little bit different given the Beads and Aegis interaction. Do you feel like that's required serious strategy changes from you guys, or has it been subtle enough that it's been pretty simple changes?
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up about the Beads and Aegis, because I don't know how much I was allowed to say about that, but I think it makes the game, it definitely changes the game a lot. Yeah. And I feel like as myself as a fan, like I watch like every SPL game, it makes the viewing experience a lot more fun. But it definitely changes like the in-game like picks as well, and just how you want to do things in the late game. Like without one of those relics, you can get punished by a lot of different things. So I think for the fans and the viewers, the games have been more chaotic because of that, and it makes it a lot more fun. So.
Well, Aror, we're hoping for a birthday win for you and Paul, so best of luck in your matchup. Thanks for your time. We'll head back to the desk to start this one off.
Well, if there's anything that at least I got from the interview, it's one, that Aror and the Tartarus Titans are here to have some fun, play some SMITE, but also that with the change-ups to the Beads and the Aegis interaction with that kind of going on right now, has definitely made things very fun, but also very chaotic as far as the gameplay is concerned. It's changed up the picks and bans a lot. And it seems that one team that hasn't been able to adjust to it, and one team that's done a good job so far, has been the Atlantis Leviathans on the opposite side. I mean, Panitom has been making really good use of that Susano. When you're only able to have one of those, well, you can cleanse the CC that Susano does to you, but you can't really cleanse all the damage output that comes through. So it feels like these two teams trying to make those adaptations to that interaction so far has been able to net both of them a positive. I mean, they both went 2-0 yesterday in their matchups.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, are the Leviathans really mean enough to take down two birthday boys at the same time? I mean, it's Paul and Auror's birthday? That's wild. They've got smiles on their faces, though, and I imagine true competitors are here to play. And I think you're right. They have certainly been looking real solid. I mean, difficult to try and battle, especially Panitom in the jungle has been looking unstoppable. We were joking about the amount of fantasy points that Panitom was able to get in his last set, 22+ kills, 2 deaths total, and that does not bode well. I mean, if your layer's looking into this matchup, you're like, how am I supposed to deal with that, right? The amount of DPS that Panitom's coming through on that sort of thing. I'm looking towards the jungle matchup for sure, and I imagine Panitom has to be coming in with just an overwhelming amount of confidence.
Panitom's been doing really well. Sheento's been doing well in his own regard. Again, well, we mentioned it yesterday that Zapman was, at the time going into his last set, 13 kills away from hitting his 2,500 milestone. Only got 4 kills in those 2 games, so now sitting 9 kills away from being able to hit 2,500, a big milestone for the Hunter and for the veteran amongst the team. I mean, again, he has been around the scene for such a long time. I'm honestly surprised he hasn't hit that. But when you're looking around with players like Panitom who are able to put up a 12-kill game and then a 9 or a 10-kill game after that, even before 8-0 in a previous matchup against the Valkyries, maybe no surprise it's hard to get a couple of kills out there when Panitom's hogging a bunch of them.
That's a fair point. I mean, I think let's just assume that Zap would have hit it if Panitom wasn't so good. That's probably his mindset. Or maybe he's saying that, you know, ADC is too weak for me to get those kills. I have to be a big jungler if I want to be able to grab all of that. I'm sure that's something Zap would be saying. But I think the dual lane pressure that you were just talking about with Aror is also going to be something that comes into play here. Of course, Ronngyu and Zap, they've been playing together for a while. They've got that synergy built up, whereas Stuart and Aror, they still got some ways to go, right? They just have started playing together, but I think they've been building up quite well. Stuart looks a lot more confident after the first time we've seen them play. Going up against Zap, definitely not something easy, but you got to assume that he's going to be feeling just fine.
Well, we can delay no longer. We've been hearing about all the shakeups to the picks and bans. Let's see what ends up getting grabbed here for game number 1 between the Atlantis Leviathans and the Tartarus Titans. Remember, Leviathans, your number 1 seed going into this match. Tartarus Titans sitting at that 5th seed, but just 1 game, 1 set win from being able to make a 3-way tie within the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place spot. So a big win here for the Tartarus Titans could shake up the standings just a little bit. The Atlantis Leviathans, they can continue to expand that gap up against between themselves and even the number 2 seed of the Jade Dragons. Could be a big boon for the both of them. As the first bans do start rolling through, the Morgan and Cupid are the primary topics, at least for the Leviathans. Meanwhile, Daji and Yamoja by the Tartarus Titans, recognizing that the Leviathans might not be a team that are going to let Yemoja go through if that one is left open for first pick.
Yeah, certainly changing up the dynamic a bit. And this was the ban that I was calling for last time I watched the Tartarus Titans play. Get Paul off this set. I mean, he has been popping off for such a long time on this pick. So now we get to see Paul play something differently in that mid lane. I don't know what it'll be because it's been such a long time since I've seen him play something that was in that set. Either way, the Leviathans are going to grab that Cernunnos for the first pick. Now, of course, there is a couple options you could go for. We've seen the Cern played mid, but I know that Zap also really likes it, so wouldn't be surprised if it does just get thrown over to the duo lane. And the Tartarus Titans are going to grab the Athena. Now, if you asked me a bit ago, I would say, oh, that's cool. Auror's trying out Athena, but because SOT went the full damage Athena solo last time and looked real good doing it, I'm going to assume that's going over to SOT.
Yeah, very likely that one could go over to the solo lane, though. As you mentioned, still some flex potential if Aror does end up wanting to grab that one. But Susano for the Tartarus Titans over for Layers, keeping that one away from Panitom's hands because the last 2 games that Panitom has gotten to play it has gone a combined, God, I want to say it was like 20-0 on that pick alone. So definitely keeping that one out of the hot hands. Meanwhile, the opposite of hot hands, cold hands for Ymir. And now for the Atlantis Leviathans, taking that one for their support.
And that's going to be a good start. Just trying to get some extra pressure in that duel, and Ymir just so powerful right now, especially around those jungle fights, right at the FG pit. Always going to bring some good plays, but the Ishtar is also going to be grabbed here, so that tells me that's got to be Zap on the Ishtar, trying to reprise his role as the Ishtar main on the team. So Cern Ishtar is a very solid top 2. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Haddix go towards a Guardian, or maybe even the Tartarus Titans look to take some Guardians away to try and deal with some of that magical damage coming from the solo lane. The Titans get a chance to try and go for here. And the Susano being picked up this early is a style of pick that I've been wanting to see from Layers for a while, but because it was this early, I was thinking, like, is Paul going to take this? You know, like, he's been playing the set, but this doesn't scream to me a Paul style of pick, and we know that Layers can pilot the Susano quite well. That is the question, though. What do they go to? With Vulcan, the Morrigan, and Set all being taken away. I mean, the Hell is something that Paul has liked to go to in times, but not the greatest in the meta at the moment. Especially with trying to be survivable without Aegis, things like that. I don't think that Hell screams to me that it's going to be that powerful. And also, Auror's pick being grabbed here before the next wave of bans could be something the Titans are after.
A lot of decisions to be made for the Titans. Maybe even grabbing something for Stuart.
That's right.
As 3 hunters have been picked up. So at least for now, grabbing Charybdis, whether that one flexes into mid over for Paul, though it doesn't really scream a Paul god to me. Definitely could just be the option for Stuart over in the duo lane. Tartarus Titans will start out the second wave of bans by taking Ardio off the table, and then a response back. Even though you might not think Hell would be the greatest one for the Titans to grab up here for Paul, the Atlantis Leviathans certainly do not want Paul to reprise that god and have banned that one away alongside Cthulhu for the Tartarus Titans. One more ban for Leviathans. I wonder if it'll be another Paul one or not. I mean, Poseidon is still up. That's the other one of the big mid lane burst mages that we have been seeing as of recent.
Yeah, it could be the call. I do like what the Titans are doing here, trying to limit what Haddix can do from that solo lane. Ardio and Cthulhu, definitely the top 2 that you would think of when bringing magical damage to the forefront of the conversation. But it looks like thinking long and hard about this one. Is Paul a Poseidon kind of guy? Is that something that we'd like to deal with? Notably, the Haze is still available, not for the Titans, but if that's something Haddix wants to go to, it would still bring that amount of magical damage we were talking about. But this has got to be another Paul ban, right? They're thinking long and hard about it, and it's actually not. Looking towards Aurora, taking away the Terra. They don't want to deal with that amount of sustain, as well as some great setup that Terra can bring. So Aurora's going to have to dive pretty deep into the God pool here already. 4 Guardians taken away, and 2 more picked. There's going to be a couple of picks that you'd think to go to, but all the while, Cabrakan is still available. Not focused on it, though. Going to be the Pele.
So Pele could be for Paul, could be for Layers. Now is the question mark as to which of these 2 assassins is going into the mid lane. If I were willing to hedge my bets, if this was the Dragons, I would say the Susano. But since it is the Titans, I'm thinking maybe Pele over for Paul. 2 more picks for the Leviathans, saving that last one for what I imagine is Aurora on the Titans, because this Athena still being hovered. But again, flexibility with that Guardian could go over to Aurora, could go over to SOT. But solo lane still option. I'm baffled by the fact that we're this deep into the draft, Charlie, and Hades is still up. It could be an easy pickup for Haddix in that lane. We did see him also go the damage Xing in a previous set. So a couple of big options available to Haddix and even a jungle pick for Panitom. Shen does seem to be the call. Like I said, ran damage for Haddix last time around. Worked out fairly well. Leviathans with one final pick waiting for their jungler.
Yeah, I think the Xing just got better with the Pele lock-in. I think with the Charybdis and the Susano, it was looking all right. And then once you see the Pele, like, wow, I'm going to get a lot of value trying to use the Furious Roar to combat the rest of these auto attacks. And Panitom is going to grab the Erlang Shen, a pick that I haven't found to be too strong in the current meta, but 80% win rate sort of speaks for itself. It looks like Panitom still values that amount of CC and early damage that Erlang can bring. And looking at the Leviathans comp, they've got a ton of that CC. I mean, pretty much beads burners throughout. Every one of these characters can grab some in their own right. Whereas the Titans finally get to tell us what this draft's going to be. Of course, that Athena could always just flex back over to support, but we have to imagine that this is Aror's pick here. And I will say the last time I saw Paul in a ranked game, he was playing Pele mid. So that is something that he likes to go to when the set is gone. It brings immense early pressure, also has some great clear. And you're not getting out traded by pretty much anyone as long as you're ahead or even. Up against an Ishtar, though, it does start to get a little dodgy. You don't want to step up to the wave and eat all that poke from the AoE damage, that sort of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if Paul plays it safe, assuming, of course, that Pele does go to the mid lane. The Titans are certainly thinking about this one, though. I imagine they're thinking about either A, let's switch up some picks, you know, take Athena over, blah, 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 or Aror is really considering what it's going to be. And because it is the Atlas, we've seen SOT play the Atlas as well. These could go either way.
So, with Atlas and Athena, and then Pele and Susano, question marks across the board for the Tartarus Titans. I think the only thing we can confirm lock in is the Charybdis going over to Stuart, and even then, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the Titans tried to throw us for a loop. But Stuart, a much more traditional Hunter player compared to former players like Cyclone Spin or even some of the other Hunter players out there within the Pro League. Leviathans draft a little bit more easy to determine out there. The Cernunnos is going over to the mid-roll a lot more often, so Sheento most likely to pilot that. Ishtar for Zapman, though you could flip those two around there. And the Xing for Haddix one more time. So a lot of team fight, at least out of the Atlantis Leviathans. I mean, you look into the late game, Wild Hunt out of Cernunnos, big AoE control, Xing, easy beads burn out there, Erlang Shen, even some CC in that regard. So for the Tartarus Titans, with this double Guardian, double Assassin dive style of comp, do they have the tools to kind of fight into this massive AoE team fight that the Leviathans have?
Well, I think what the Leviathans have essentially done here is try and cement their late game as well as having a very solid early with the Erlang Shen. If Panitom falls behind, though, I think the Leviathans' early game is almost gone. Like, with double ADC like this, you want to be getting 3-4 items online. You want to be fighting for those objectives. Whereas if you look at what the Titans have, they've got double Assassin, double Guardian. That's going to bring a ton of pressure and damage early on. Where I think, like, Pele and Susano, level 5, they're online. They want to fight. They want to all in. And I think that's something the Leviathans are going to have to deal with, trying to stall out this game and let it go late again. With Panitom on the Erlang, they still do have some early damage. They still have some early pressure. But if he gets behind even for a second, we talk about Erlang Shen all the time, how he's feast or famine. In this situation, a little bit of farm down, a one death early on, and Leviathan's early game could just be gone.
So for the Atlantis Leviathans, maybe holding out towards the late game, kind of trying to stall the Tartarus Titans a little bit more, where the Titans with double Assassin, with double Guardian, maybe try and get active a little bit more earlier on. Now, I'll just say no matter which these two Assassins ends up going, it's definitely going to be some interesting sparks flying into the mid lane. We'll see how game number 1 pans out. The Atlantis Leviathans, Tartarus Titans, game 1 right now.
In the last regularly scheduled Worlds rematch prior to Worlds kicking off. If these two teams qualify, maybe run into one another again, phase 3 playoffs. Nothing guaranteed, so this is the last time guaranteed the Leviathans and the Titans will play before the end of the year. Very, very important as well. There's kind of a roadblock in the middle of the standings right now. Leviathans want to extend their lead in the top, specifically over the Dragons and the Camelot Kings. And a really good opportunity to do so. I asked Aror Mifflin, Doug also with us. I haven't given Doug enough shout-outs this weekend. I'm sorry, Doug. I appreciate you being here with Miff and I and all the rest of the viewers.
You didn't have to take it back. You can give him a little shout.
What?
You said you've shouted him out enough this weekend.
I said I haven't shouted out Doug.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
I didn't take it back.
Poor Doug.
No, we love Doug. But I asked Aror Miff in the pregame interview about the team's creativity. Feels like they've gotten back to more theory crafting style of playing SMITE. And if they feel like this is the time of year to kind of start doing that. I guess I have to hold this thought because Purple Buff is getting invaded by Ronngyu. We'll see if he's able to pick up any of the camps
No.
The answer is no.
Yeah, no.
Just a health trade. And what a theory craft style of comp myth for the Titans. They get Paul on Pele mid, layers on Susano out of the jungle. The assassin uptick here this weekend, doubled down on by the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing against Pele mid, especially with an Erlang Shen, Aror could be in some trouble here. Take some damage. I don't think he'll fall down, considering Ronngyu still sitting at level 1, doesn't have access to any of those other abilities. So when you're playing against Pele mid, I feel like the answer with Erlang Shen is to just walk at Pele. She has to get point blank on the wave, stand right in the center of the lane if she wants to hit the entirety of it with Pyroclast. Root, Ferret, walk them down, feels like a pretty good opportunity. Similarly though, you have got 2 lanes where you really want to put that pressure, the other one being SOTs. We had seen what happened when Athena is left alone in the lane. She's just going to leave it every time a fight happens somewhere else with that ultimate. The only way to avoid that numbers disparity is to bring the fight to Athena. She can't ult to herself. It doesn't work like that. So I would think Zapman, a guy who's been playing the game for so long and has seen metas where Athena solo has been in, has been out, as it starts to cycle throughout the years, likely does remember that is the answer. I'm curious to see how the Leviathans try and adjust this eccentric draft.
I do think, was that a nice eccentric or a...
It's eccentric.
Because you asked me the same question the other day.
Yeah, well, Unique's got undertones.
Unique, it does have some undertones. Remember, it is different, though, for Sot, because it was teleport on the Athena solo last time. Then the ult over and then just teleport back to lane was Sot's direction every single time. Has beads now. And so if Sot decides to ult elsewhere to set up fights across the map, not going to be able to just teleport back to tower, regain control in the lane, and continue to farm things up. So that'll end up being a bit of a different look. But just with the takeover of Susano so far this weekend, Myth, I think you have to expect a big performance from Layers. But then also a less standard and nowadays more unique pick for Panitom on the Erlang Shen. Mannequins early on, and the Blink. Maybe you're hoping the Leviathans jungler is going to be the one to set the tone.
Yeah, anytime Erlang Shen's gone towards Mannequins in first slot, I'm just waiting for the hat to drop, right? The first pin and the 3 auto attacks that did 40% of your HP and then potentially the chase down immediately afterward. And he's got great targets for it. We'd already talked about the Pele. Athena's in a very similar position where her escape is blockable. Panitom does sink some damage into the Pele. But even if you're able to catch out Layers in the jungle, that's pretty easy for you to win that 1v1. Aror, largely immobile. You've got ways to deal with his escapes. Feels like this is a game where Panitom could just be primed and ready to blast off at any second.
What feels like a threat, though, is we've seen Erlang Shens that get nothing done, and this was Trelly's point on the desk. Falls a little bit behind, and then it's just incredibly awkward, incredibly uncomfortable to find initiations, to get into the fight later on in the game if you're behind. Because you have to walk in, you have to pull them into you. So we do have a taunt battle between Panitom and SOT, one on a bit of a lower cooldown and maybe a bit stronger just because of that. But Sot made it look really good in the set earlier on in the weekend. Now I asked Aror as well about how the dynamic of the dual lane has been for this Titans team. You know, one of the main lanes where role swaps can really change things up if you're not on the same page. But it looks like Aror and Stu, at least from the set earlier this weekend, Myth, kind of figured things out. You know, I think Stu had a couple of nice games. Aror's been playing some really good Smite as well. And even if it's not perfectly clean yet, still plenty of time to figure things out.
Yeah, and I'd argue Stu's fit into the team very well. He's just been a plug-and-play player, generally plays relatively safe during the laning phase. Once Aror leaves, Stu's not one to just get picked out. Great wall from Ronngyu, says, yeah, grab me, man. I'm not going anywhere. Expect to see a whole lot of that throughout this game as well. It's not just when Rongyu's the one getting grabbed. If Zapman gets picked up, Panitom, Sheento, doesn't matter. As long as Ronngyu is nearby, he can make sure that there isn't a whole lot of follow-up there. Auror's got to be careful in some of these later team fights for that exact interaction.
Well, a couple things I take notice of early. Over in the solo lane, Haddix's ult is down, but so are SOT's beads. And so it looks like Sot maybe run at and had to use the beads while the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel came out. But also Conduit Gem Book of Thoth for Haddix. Maybe Guardian solos building damage. So we saw it for Sod earlier this weekend, right? It was that style of build from the Athena.
Ronnie?
It is going to be an ult in from the Athena as well. Ronngyu into the shard device with the last bit of mana. Double taunt as well. Just needed a bit more damage, but able to avoid it as Sheento is rotating over from mid, has Wild Hunt, has the root as well. But again, this is the big difference now. Sod can't just teleport back to lane, and it's given up a bit of pressure to Haddix, who's now farming up all the back camps.
Yeah, stealing away that jungle. Lair is going to take a slight hit here as Haddix doesn't take the large minion, just the smalls. But that is the concern. Anytime a fight happens on the opposite side of the map, SOT can get involved. Ronngyu, barely off the mark with that hog, would have been able to secure the purple buff and then disengage. But instead, resets it, I think, a little bit too early. Hog whiffs wide. The Tartarus Titans are at least able, with the help of SOT, to strip away that purple. But you are right, man. This is going to be an interesting interaction. Every time SOT leaves lane and doesn't find value, he's going to fall pretty significantly behind. Haddix just gets to spend that time free farming. And because Haddix has elected to go for this damage build, time free farming serves him well.
See if the damage hits layers. Oh, it sure does. The 3-man Typhoon means nothing when the 3 men of the Leviathans are running at you, and layers drops for first blood and a blue buff invade now. Fantastic wall from Ronngyu yet again. And so the right side of the map, now the center of focus. But early goings at it was just because SOT ulted out of lane. Haddix able to kick around, farm up a bit, got a 1-level lead. Curious to see how much damage this Xing will be able to do now with the extra assist in the back pocket and a good start for the Leviathans.
Yeah, I mean, that Book of Thoth change just really was strong. Same interaction, Ronngyu tossed around the wall this time. Sheento not exactly in a position to return too much damage, just poking and prodding towards the center of the map. The penetration addition to Book of Thoth just makes it such a valuable tool, really allows you to stack up full damage early on, and even though it does slow down your defensiveness, I think Haddix, if he so chooses, or even SOT, could pivot that build very quickly into just standard defense, maybe like a Breastplate of Valor in the second slot, if they feel like it, and still be relatively tanky while simultaneously dealing enough damage that you kind of have to respect them.
Respect. The Titans is exactly what the Leviathans do on left. Another purple buff goes to Stu and Aror. Now, two different mindsets from these two teams, where the Leviathans feel like blue buff pressure against SOT, the name of the game. On the flip side of the map, purple buff pressure against Ronngyu and Zapman has worked out quite nicely for the Tartarus Titans. And the 1-level lead is built up for Stuart there as well. Devourer's Gauntlet continues to see plenty of play. All the hunters in the game obviously going to pick that one up. It looks like Sheento a bit more crit-minded with his build and knocking down potentially a bit of the sustain that the Titans might be looking for. You're starting to get closer to that like 2-item mark here, Miff, for the double assassins of the Titans. Is that when you're maybe thinking that Layers and Paul have a bit more kill pressure?
Yeah, I wonder. Sheento on Cern is pretty safe up against the Pele. If you hold on to Bramble Blast till after Volcanic Lightning CC immunity ends, you can just drop it on him, dash away. Pretty easy to line that one up when you're in a barrel stuff situation. So Paul will have opportunities to rotate around the map. That's certainly still there. Pele, one of the fastest junglers, or assassins rather, in the game, mid laner this time for the Tartarus Titans. So could potentially be that Paul decides to get involved in the side lanes as he starts to tick over to that second, third item mark. But as far as 1v1 is concerned, I'm not sure he's going to catch out Sheento.
No, likely not. Sheento should be just fine, which is exactly what the Leviathans want, right? Because it's double assassin versus double guardian, double hunter on the other side. Now, the Leviathans have grown to the point where any of these types of team comps, you're giving them the benefit of the doubt, the ability to play it. And this composition, certainly no exception in the current meta. It's just been so strong. One of the two hunters being Ishtar, likely another one Cern. And you can plug and play a few different options in there. But still always the objective-minded team are the Leviathans. Team fight, grouping around Pyro, grouping around Gold Fury. They've got a great composition at being able to get that done. So I suppose the threat, you got to watch out for Layers and Paul and catapulting themselves forward. So though we've slowed down a bit, it's actually been a nice steady climb for the Leviathans. Got first blood, added a few hundred extra gold worth of camp steals from that point on, and I think the Leviathans, Myth, they've got to consider it a win here, because watching what Sot was doing on Athena last time we saw it, it felt like ult every couple of minutes. It would come off of cooldown. Maybe, 30 seconds to a minute goes by and Sada's somewhere else on the map. They've largely kept this Athena in lane and hasn't quite impacted the other side of the map just yet.
Yeah, Sot was handed a lot of opportunities in the previous set. He got to play Athena to use the ultimate defensively, but this time the Leviathans aren't really overextending on the left side of the map, and instead now you can even see it here. The response is, look, SOT would take a fight around the gold tree. He'd just ult in if he could.
My goodness.
So let's fight around the Pyro. If anyone shows up, SOT won't get mega value from his ultimate. Haddix will be able to match that rotation pretty easily. Nobody does show up. Heat check. Pyromancer does go to the Levi's, but gold tree in response, that's so standard. No rotation for this one.
It's the Titans on the Gold Fury. Zapman close by. Zapman a chance to steal, but Paul on Pele, threatening enough. Titans will trade out the Gold Fury, and absolutely no pushback from the Leviathans. Are you surprised, Smith, to see the Leviathans so cleanly make a trade? Pyromancer and no intention of getting to the Gold Fury.
Yeah, I wonder. I feel like they could have defended. Layers initiates, no knockup.
And Shards of Ice melts down some of the health bar from Layers, and Layers is able to avoid the pullback in from Zapman, but there's an initiation from Haddix. That's amazing. But the re-taunt in from Sot flips things right back around. Currently at 2 for 2, the same trade mids for supports. But the solo laners continue to do battle.
One more.
And Haddix just needs the last tick of damage. He'll find it, and the Leviathans find the difference maker in a kill for on Haddix.
Panitom wants to do to Layers what he was doing to Kirimi in the previous set. Walks up.
Drops it.
Speed buff taken, man. That is so frustrating for Layers. Just walks out of base and gets to watch his buff fall in front of him. Panitom's been pretty keen on that play recently, just walking up, pressuring the enemy speed. It's something that we haven't seen in a while, ever since speed was moved to the literal furthest point of the jungle, so difficult to invade. Panitom said he doesn't care. He's taking it away.
So we got our first look at what a team fight might look like with the double assassins. Paul able to notch one kill there, and Paul seemingly unconcerned with choosing between Beads or Aegis. It's Beads plus Blink for Paul out of mid. So you should expect a bunch of sudden burst initiation from the Titans, but I guess when you have double Guardians, you're feeling a little bit better about it. Now Haddix has pivoted away, Myth, from the full, complete, overwhelming damage build that it looks like SOT's still going for. Add a little bit extra, of course, with that Breastplate of Valor, but looks like ends up going back towards more standard tanky build.
Yeah, if memory serves, and my memory so often doesn't serve, I think last time SOT did this build, it was Divine Ruin in that second slot. Maybe not enough healing on the side of the Leviathans to dictate that build path, but 9 turns Blessing from Panitom, HP 5 from Haddix, Lifesteal from Zapman, even Lifesteal from Sheento. That all adds up. Layers.
Panitom wants to fight. Panitom will get a fight, but SOT will end it. Mediator ults in. Panitom left running, had to use the beads, blink down as well. But I think important, remember Desk and even you and I have talked a bit early on in this game about how Erlang Shen, you can't afford to fall behind, and so Panitom taking the fight to Layers, even if you're not getting the kill, maybe as far as sending a message is the right call.
And good discipline from Panitom there as well. Realizes, look, I could stick to the fight, and I might even have enough DPS to kill Layers, but with SOT landing with the Defender of Olympus, I'd be trading myself. And a 2-0 Erlang Shen is worth so much more than the 0-1 Susano, and so says, look, I got the ultimate off Layers, I got the ultimate off SOT, that's enough. I've done my job. Panitom essentially just creates space for his entire team there by getting aggressive in that 1v1 and then walks away into the jungle with a smooth win. The Leviathan's jungler has always been very good. Panitom has continually impressed, but there's something extra in it this week, it feels like.
It does feel that way. We know what it is, Myth.
Yeah, Gore's not here.
Yeah, Gore's not here. Oh, the poor guy. No, not poor guy. He sent us a picture of him hanging out at Disney at 9:30 in the morning. I'm not complaining if I'm Gore Miser, that's for sure. Wonder if the Leviathans, though, think that purple buff invade's the way to go. When you got Panitom here, why not? In a very, very strong spot. Ronngyu has separated out Aror. Purple buff does get secured by the Leviathans. Stuart trading out some good damage. But what's more, Haddix is here as well. And a 4-man rotation over from the Leviathans, a high impact. Actually, it's all 5 of the Leviathans are here. That's just left SOT to farm things up, maybe catch back up a bit over in solo.
Haddix has TP, so can defend that tower. if he so chooses, and he does. I like the idea, though, from the Leviathans. Like, even having Haddix rotate out, because he has TP, he's always going to be able to get back and defend whenever he needs to. If you get a pick on duo lane, be it Aror or Stuart, you're just shoving down the tier 1, maybe even the tier 2 tower. And if the fight extends, as it so often does with the counter rotation, you might have even grabbed the Oni Fury afterward, but instead, fizzles. Good defensive play from the Tartarus Titans to disengage there.
Yep.
Just has it end. The Leviathans send Haddix back to solo, says, look, just don't fall too far behind, and he doesn't. Keeps up the pressure in the jungle as well.
Man.
Are they going to trade it again? No way. With it desynced, I think the Leviathans can certainly
At this
show
point,
up to
you
the
have
Oni.
to, right? I mean, you have so much objective burn. I would question just simply giving up the Oni Fury. So it is Pyromancer for the Leviathans. No back and reset just yet. Decent ward coverage from both teams. Leviathans directly on the Fury itself and the Titans just outside, but on their own side of the jungle. Likely doesn't get snuck away, but don't know the exact comings and goings of the Leviathans on their own side of the map. But Oracles will separate things out for the Oni Fury. We've seen a decent little scrap really miff between both teams over in mid. The Titans now rotating this direction as well. This could start to boil over and be our first big team fight of the game.
Oni Fury pulled out. Tartarus Titans, the aggressors. Ronngyu and Zapman starting to walk their way forward. And the Titans reset. Worth noting, Titans have Oracle Vision, even though there is a ward from the Leviathans in the pit. So it's about an even trade as far as information is concerned. If the Leviathans keep Haddix here, SOT is just going to get more value. Has the ability to join the fight at a moment's notice. Whether or not the Leviathans can survive that Defender of Olympus is going to be the heat check. SOT starting his rotation. Leviathans, they're not going for the Fury. Instead, pressure into the tower.
The Leviathans want the tier 1, but Aurora wants to defend it. Defender of Olympus makes its way mid.
1-2.
Now has to worry about helping out his support. Aurora waddling away, a double stun from Zapman on the rotation into mid. Aurora narrowly escapes with his life by the thinnest of margins. It looks like this Atlas will be okay, but no! Aurora nearly pinned by Panitom, gets pinned, but with enough HP to scurry away. Looks like the Leviathans have done enough, though, to keep the Titans on the back foot.
Was it the shell proc that saves his life there? If that's the case, Aurora so fast on the keyboard. Can we get a look at Panitom's level order? So long as a fight doesn't happen here. Wonder if he's been putting points into the pin. Has not. Instead, it's the transformation and that first ability, the stim. So maybe had he maxed out that pin, it's a little bit of a different story. I wonder how much HP Aurora lives with. I mean, I'm not going to tell him to do that. Erlang Shen, it's kind of not what you're going to be doing, but it's worth looking at.
Right, in a different universe, Panitom maybe grabs the kill there, but I don't think the Leviathan's all that bothered. I think the Leviathans, they get the Fury, they get the Pyromancer, and a tier 1 in mid. Requires 0 kills. Of course, you love the kills as well, but this is now the type of game that the Titans have been hoping to avoid over their last couple. Again, they lost 3 straight. They're now on a 2-set win streak, the Titans are, and have been able to avoid just kind of getting manhandled in these slow burnout style of games. But the Leviathan's so good at forcing you into that style of game. And so a 3,000 gold lead is built up with just 4 kills for the Atlantis Leviathans. Now, we've seen some early FGs, Myth. I don't know if we're talking 15 minutes like we were earlier on today. I think this game is a bit closer than that. But still, with the styles of builds and that slight edge here in this match, I wonder if the Leviathans are considering something in the next couple minutes.
I mean, double crit Hunter, they'd make short work of a Fire Giant. It would go very fast. I think both these Hunters, Sheento and Zapman, just waiting on this next power spike, that short sword, going to turn into a Deathbringer very shortly. Gold's just about there for both of them.
Pretty standard size.
Yeah, I'd say so.
The sword?
Yeah, I gotta hope so, right?
Yeah, for your sake, right?
Our sake.
Our sake, you're right, Myth. We're brothers.
We're gonna get fired.
I know, it's okay. Leviathans might avoid that for us, though. If we call a nice big team fight right around the FG.
So big.
I could save things. But also a smart team. Look, you talk about the Leviathans and their ability not only to push leads on a few kills, but also the type of team that in these big important sets very good at backing off when they realize that, all right, this is maybe one step too far, don't need to force this, can wait for one more Pyromancer here in the next couple of minutes. So I don't think the Titans are going to be able to just wander in and catch the Leviathans unawares. We haven't seen much yet, Myth, from this 1-2 double assassin punch. I mean, Sheento's died the one time. Zapman has
Paul
been
ulted?
plenty safe. If he has, I haven't seen it. If he has, the last time was in that last big team fight in the sort of early game scrap where he got a kill and an assist. But straight up don't know how much damage this Pele's going to do to Sheento or Zapman in one of these first fights.
Yeah, Paul doesn't know quite yet either. Has been able to poke at times, but it's mainly that Pyroclast. Fire Giant pulled out. Haddix heat check. SOT now knows it is pulled, but do the Leviathans even care?
Here we go. We were right on time. A couple minutes from when we were talking about a Fire Giant pulled, but
yeah,
dropped. Down to half HP. Yeah, you kind of got the idea once Ronngyu started to get a little bit low. Didn't use the Frenzy. Likely wasn't going to be full commit.
That was without Sheento, though. And they dropped the Fire Giant to half in, like, what was that, 10 seconds maybe?
Yeah.
Just with Zapman?
Which is a really, really long time.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, the Leviathans, I think, you know, with how quickly that Fire Giant burnt down, now put some threat on the Tartarus Titans. They've got to be aware of exactly where the Leviathans are. Pyromancer respawns. This would be an interesting brawl if it ends up breaking out just for the Pyromancer. Shards of Ice committed on. It's a pin in the back line, but Haddix forced to leap away. Ronngyu used the ultimate. That's the only ultimate used. And Blink expended by Haddix as well. So relatively low commitment around the Pyro that the Leviathans were able to secure.
Yeah, the Titans just so slow with some of these initiations. The Typhoon from Layers held on to, no Volcanic Lightning. The Tartarus Titans are going to have to burn the resources of the Leviathans eventually. It's an all-in style of composition. You've got double Assassin and SOT to make it a little bit safer with the Defender of Olympus. I'm surprised that the Titans have kind of allowed the Leviathans to dictate the pace as much as they have. It's the Titans choosing, or Leviathans choosing objectives, choosing when the fights happen. I was expecting Layers to be running down Sheento or trying to catch out Zapman, or Paul trying to leverage some of that rotation ability that Pele's got with that enhanced movement speed, but instead, seems like the Titans are waiting for, what's the term you used earlier? Unforced errors?
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck. The Leviathans don't really do those.
Yeah, they don't do many. The Athena and the global presence attempted impact early in the game.
We've seen two.
Haven't seen it since then. And one was like from solo to mid. The only like full big left side map rotation was earlier, and that's
at
when
level
Sot
5,
was empty-handed, right? Didn't have teleport. Had to go back to base and wander on back to lane. Gold Fury's up here as well. Be a nice pull for the Leviathans. And I don't know if the Titans can just wander over to the Gold Fury if the Leviathans aren't there as well, with just how fast we saw the Levi's burn this FG just a few moments ago, and might burn it here now. Frenzy this time gets used.
Yeah.
My lord, the Fire Giant is an afterthought. The move speed simply not
6
enough from
seconds.
the Titans. And Aror now frozen on the other side of the wall from Ronngyu. And that is a game-changing moment. Fire Giant on all 5 and a kill onto Aror.
Man, the Titans just nowhere to be seen. SOT's playing the left side, fine, right? The Athena's going to get to the fight regardless. Someone's got to be there for SOT to ult to. Nobody was. The Tartarus Titans just weren't ready for that DPS, and I can't fault them too much. That did go incredibly quick. Now the Leviathans get to continue their siege. SOT generating pressure on the left. It still has the ability to enter the engagement at a moment's notice. Isn't happening. Defense slow. Levi's take right tier 2. They're already in the Phoenix.
Yeah. Hello.
There's the
Who's
beats.
on the defense? There we go. Now Stuart Layers, Paul, step forward. Sato's still pushing out.
He's
Left
got
side.
volley. It'll be quick.
Yeah, I mean, maybe sensing that Defender of Olympus, you can get back and fight in quicker. But Leviathans are just going to open up the right side Phoenix. Still plenty of towers to work down. Suppose decent trade then. Sot is able to get a couple towers on left. Actually takes a little bit of damage, but here come the Leviathans on the answer back to the Titans because Layers found the first. Now Sot is Defender of Olympus towards Panitom, pops the bubble, and the zaps just aren't enough to get it done. But maybe without Zapman, the Leviathans should be done in this fight. They maybe should. Ronngyu cleaned up by Aror, and out of nowhere, the Titans double their kill total, but at a pivotal point in game 1.
Legitimately 5 ultimates cast onto Zapman. Stu just to close gap. Aror from across the map. Layers and Paul for damage, and SOT to make sure that the damage wasn't returned. The Tartarus Titans find their opportunity. It's a 2 versus 1, I suppose, and now with Ronngyu dead, 3 versus 5 around the Fury. I'm thinking the Leviathans just got to let this one go.
It's been a weekend of steals. This one will not be attempted. And right on time, a Gold Fury for the Tartarus Titans. So after a nice fight and a Gold Fury, gap starting to close back up a little bit. Bit disjointed maybe the Leviathans then, Miff, on their disengage, opened up the opportunity for the Titans.
This is dangerous positioning by Panitom. He is completely alone up here.
He doesn't
Catches
care.
Layers. He doesn't have dash.
Oh my God, Layers! What's happened
needs.
to your health bar? Panitom keeps his bubble.
He's a psycho.
And Layers soloed by Panitom. 302 on the Erlang Shen.
Mannequin's Hidden Blade will catch you out like that. Layers using the mobility to just get around the map on his side. Will think twice of it. Next time around, just an absolute. No, he's done. He's not going any further.
Wow, and he was able to hold on to his bubble even. Saw it not connecting on the taunt in. That tilts the scales back now a little bit. Usually when you see a few of the Fire Giant buffs drop off, you're thinking, all right, that's kind of the end of this FG push. Panitom gives the Leviathans another opportunity.
They got
this is going to be a collapse in onto Panitom, but Haddix to save the day. Unable to do so. Panitom does end up dropping, and finally the aggressive positioning bites Panitom, but does open up an opportunity for the Leviathans to start shoving this wave left.
No
Both
defense.
of the Hunters putting
So
damage
fast.
into the Phoenix, and the Phoenix is gone.
Stuart just turns the corner, not in time to defend it. Maybe some chase potential here for the Tartarus Titans. Haddix very low. Both carries working their way through the lane. SOT dash charged up. If a taunt connects, you're burning the beads with the first one. Second, that's all you need.
There's all that damage onto Sheento. Sheento will dash away, but you gotta stand and fight. Unable to survive another one to the Tartarus Titans. But this is where you kind of got to take stock of everything that's happened, Miff. The Leviathans lose their FG buffs. The last of them are going to drop off right now anyway. It's just Haddix who's got it. But the Titans have lost so much of their map. Exposed right side Phoenix, and then just now, a left Phoenix goes down prior to the Fire Giant.
And it's 50 seconds left till that Fire Giant spawns up as well, so Sheento's going to be there if the Tartarus Titans try to aggress on it. Pyromancer's yours. Go ahead. Grab that one.
Game over.
Yeah, I mean, fine. A little bit of extra movement speed on the way out of base. Never hurt anybody. Tartarus Titans will be able to make use of that. Paul wants to make the Panitom play on to Panitom. It's actually 5 here, boys. Careful.
Uh-oh. Is it Haddix who's caught out? Whirlwind of Rage and Steel onto SOT, who's just sent to the side. And the eject handle's being ripped by the Leviathans, where the Titans had a bit of pressure starting to build up. You know, it's been a real nice game put together by Panitom, about halfway up the damage charts. I think the Titans needing, now that we're getting to that itemization from Layers, you need to see the Susano start to climb up a bit at 1, 2, and 2, second to last on the damage charts, despite what is now a really nice build.
You don't see this too often. The Bumba's Hammer pick up for Layers. A lot of sustain. Won't help you if you're not at the Fire Giant, though. It's going quick. Second verse, same as the first. Levi's walk up, double crit Hunter.
My goodness.
Makes Fire Giant evaporate, pulls a Houdini, just disappears. Tartarus Titans, nowhere to be seen.
Where'd he go?
Yeah, I mean,
Punchline in 5 minutes.
SOT will defend the left-hand side, keep those minion waves pushed up. Leviathans, they're going to push up the right-hand side. But if SOT's backing now, that minion wave will pressure pretty quickly. Leviathans can slow play it here.
You see the pings. The Leviathans pinged that wave as well. I think they're on the same page as you here, Miff. They've got everyone grouped up on the exact opposite side. You do have the ult in from SOT. Now it's just about buying time for the Leviathans. Panitom's still laying in wait. He set a few traps this game, and they've been sprung by the Tartarus Titans. It's paid off. I wonder if you do send over SOT to try to clear out those waves. Yeah, starting to wander towards left, but at the drop of a hat, we've seen these initiations from the Leviathans. Feels like Haddix has really been on point on the Xing Chen. Ronngyu as well. The double Guardian comp has been so effective at creating moments for the Leviathans.
I wonder if the Leviathans have got enough DPS if Haddix just all-ins on Aurora. If you Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, the only guy who can't deal with it, maybe you've got enough to just straight up kill him off. Instead, though, he's got eyes for Paul.
Instead, though, the Titans will push back Haddix. Ronngyu secures the Soul Laner's escape. It's actually Haddix. Left a little less healthy. Fire minions make their way to the Titan. Now it's a 5v4 in the moment, but Haddix may drop before you can get anything done. It's exactly what happens. A dropped ball from the Leviathans. They've lost another one of their FG buff. It's an ult in from Sot that is not needed because another one for the Titans. It's Stuart this time, and both Guardians off the map.
Yeah, just too squishy on the Xing Chen to go for plays like that. It was beads exchanged by Layers and says, hey man, you're stuck here with me. And I win this DPS battle with the additional sustain of Bumma's Hammer, allowed to just have that 1v1. Susano going to look very, very good. Immediately afterward, Paul able to chase out, get involved in the team fight proper. Leviathans not quite able to break the base. Actually in a worse position now than they were previously. Left side, Phoenix respawns. The Tartarus Titans play that defense beautifully, man. I mean, the spacing of it, the timing of it, realizing that they can allow that minion wave in towards the Titan room.
Yep.
I would have preferred to see the Leviathans continually slow play it. When you've got a double Hunter composition, you don't need to be pressed for time around these Phoenix Sieges. Work your way in with the minion wave, sink a couple of autos, rinse, repeat. But it was an all-in from Haddix. And from there, Tartarus Titans won cleanly.
You could tell Panitom was really hoping the fight would make its way outside of the base. Again, you're starting to get into that awkward territory where Panitom is incredibly strong, full build, but can be awkward at times to find those openings without, you know, the Titans taunting you in, forcing your relics, burning you down, because Paul is strong. Everyone in the game now full build at the 31-minute mark. The gold lead mattering effectively nothing outside of just the supports themselves. Ronngyu with the Emperor's armor, but Auror's got one as well. Feeling somewhat equalized, and like the Titans have bided their time. And there's not much of a gold lead anyway, just 1,000 for the Leviathans. Maybe hoping to find a pick. The Titans, enough wherewithal to backpedal before the FG is not only off, but spawn back up in about a minute and a half.
I wonder if either of the ADCs on the Leviathans would consider switching up their builds. I mean, it'd be expensive from here, but Zapman's already got the kin size in that last slot. With a triple Spectral on the other side, maybe getting a little bit of yellow damage could help out a good deal. The Odysseus bow as well to keep those blinks under control. Maybe that's why Haddix is spending all of his time focusing Layers and Paul, is that he's really the only one that could deal with that blink with any degree of competencies or any idea of survival immediately afterward. Odysseus bow feels like it would just do a whole lot here for the Leviathans. Wonderful to see that one if the game extends to that point. Tartarus Titans, though.
I was wondering if they knew he was backing there.
Dude, this is dangerous. I mean, Rongyu's got to be real careful. A taunt is a death sentence for this Ymir. Heads back to base, realizes not worth any sort of risk here. He's going to play with his team.
But still, the trap from the Tartarus Titans could make a massive difference. It's so sneaky. I don't know if anyone from the Leviathans, I mean...
Keep it down, Dave. You're going to blow up their spot.
Well, remember, I wonder if the Leviathans are thinking that Auror's going all the way around the map again.
Oh,
remember,
no way,
but
right?
Instead, he's behind the FG pit.
And
well, now they're going to be spotted out, but it doesn't matter. Zapman has been blinked on.
Oh, big whiff.
But Zapman survives to
Triple
pull
pull
back in. And it's huge from Layers. And now the Leviathans scattered to the wind. They knew where the Titans were, but it didn't matter much. Zapman trading out with the Roar.
Watch
SOT
Haddix.
is the one who was dropped. Haddix still has a bit of wind left in the sails. No ultimates left on the map. And the Tartarus Titans are missing their solo.
Panitom can get involved. He's got that Mannequin's Hidden Blade, connects the pin onto 2, but can't keep moving forward. Good zone from Aror. Doesn't want to get tagged by that CCs. Zapman lives for too long there. The whiffed ultimate from Layers, made up for immediately by a triple pull, but had it connected, you wouldn't have needed it. Zapman likely would have just died. Haddix TP is in behind. Auror's already used the dash. Can't get picked up here. That was close. It just feels like whoever gets the jump on it.
Without Zap, do the Leviathans feel like they can still fight? Yes. Yes, they do. A freeze through from Ronngyu, but Panitom again, the issue, he's wandering forward.
3.
But the toss back into the shards of ice is unbelievable. The Guardians combine. Haddix with one, Ronngyu with a couple, and the Leviathans, they win the fight, and they'll grab EFG.
Man, that was so close. The wall placement from Ronngyu, great, but Layers plays through it very well. Actually finds another two-man pool through the wall. Doesn't matter when Haddix is making plays like that, though. Ronngyu communicated very well. Shards of Ice charged up to deal the DPS. The front line of the Leviathans get it done on their own. Credit to Panitom, though. Goes in. It's not a glamorous play. Doesn't deal a whole lot of damage, but walks in and says, hey, guys, look at me. Takes a whole lot of damage, survives, and baits the Tartarus Titans.
They might be able to just walk into the base of the Titans. This is double ADC. We're late game. We're Enhanced Fire Giant. And it's only SOT. I think the Leviathans have gotten it done here unless Paul and Layers can get back up in 10 seconds. No, the time's simply not there, and the Leviathans find a way to get it done in game 1.
A slow, drawn-out battle of just two chess teams, it would seem, throughout the early game. Felt like the Leviathans, I mean, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, felt like the Leviathans had a bit more of that proactive play. They chose the objectives, they chose the trades, they chose when the fights were going to happen, and they chose well, because it led them to that exact situation. But you got to give credit to the Tartarus Titans for holding on as long as they did. That was very difficult base defenses that they made look pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, think back to what we were talking about, where it was, 4 kills for the Leviathans, and they'd built up a really hefty gold lead. Gold lead got to a point where it didn't matter, and the Titans were able to hang on there, and it just came down to team fighting around the Fire Giant. And the Leviathans, very, very good at that. Leviathans take game 1 over the Titans. We'll see if they can get it done in 2 right after this.
return to your vessels. The factory is going into shutdown.
Game number 1 of our third set of the day goes to the Atlantis Leviathans. And, you know, we always preach about the great things that you can get with Prime, whether it be all the cool free stuff that they provide to you for having a membership. We talk about with all the cool things that Alienware can give to our players and to our production and even to you at home. But we got to talk about the cool things that you can do to support your favorite teams out there. And that's by buying a jersey brought to us by our good friends over at Skull. So if you go to shop.hi-rezstudios.com/SPL, you can support your favorite teams and pick up a jersey to represent them, whether that be in the comfort of your own home. Take a picture, post a selfie. You may get a retweet from one of our accounts on there, or wear it to the SMITE World Championships if you're going to be making it out there. So that way you can show your love for your favorite team out there. So go ahead and pick up one of our jerseys brought to us by our good friends over at Skulls, providing them for our players and for our fans, just like you at home. So thank you so much to Skulls for providing merchandise for Season 9 of the SMITE Pro League. Game number 1, Charlie, this was back and forth the entire way through. I mean, Atlantis Leviathans start out great. They're able to get themselves in early kills. Then we see the Titans picking up some response kills, taking a nice lead. Leviathans fight back. We're sitting at this back and forth, even game, fire giants galore throughout there. But at the end, it's the Leviathans able to rally themselves together off a couple of big combo ultimates by the Guardians to bring themselves game number 1.
Yeah, I really felt if this game went late enough, the Leviathans comp was just too good to beat, right? But then both itemizing into crit was a bit of a question mark. I mean, there were so many spectral armors and they were getting so much value out of that one defense item. But it was Haddix and Ronngyu, the combo, the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel into the Shards of Ice that really cemented that game. And I think from minute number 1, right, Panitom was getting active. That's what he needed to do. He realized, hey, if I can get my team to late game, if I can get my team a small lead and just make sure that we get to 30 minutes plus in this game, then we should be just fine. And that was the case. Panitom getting the first blood. And from there, that's what I was expecting from him, right? On this Erlang Shen with the Mannequin Scepter, that's what I was waiting for, and he did not disappoint.
Glad you corrected to talking about Panitom still there, because you said that's what we need from him right as Haddix missed like everybody with the words. Like, that's what we need from our Xing Shen, baby. Don't grab anybody. But no, Panitom doing well on this Erlang. Might not have been nearly the crazy slash lines we've been seeing out of him out of his previous set up against the Leviathans, but definitely still putting out some great damage. And here's that combo, a triple Whirlwind into a triple Shards of Ice combo, and then Sheento being able to pick up a double, great CC after, and that Dia side pretty much cemented the game for the Atlantis Leviathans beyond that point. 4-1 for Panitom, and a couple of kills across the board for just about everybody else, even Haddix going 3-1-7. But again, this was not an easy game for either team, and this was constantly back and forth. One objective pushed the lead to another. One team fight will knock it over top toward the opposite side. And it really wasn't until that moment that we saw a clear-cut breakthrough for the Leviathans.
Yeah, the damage numbers would reflect that as well. I think, again, just the fact that Zap and Sheento both went into the crit and triple spectral armor just made the Titans get so much value in those fights. You saw Haddix blink to the backline and then just get absolutely erased. Like, he didn't have that same level of tankiness that the Titans had. But turns out it wasn't the physical damage dealers that needed to end that game. It was the Guardians. It was Haddix and Ronngyu just combining there. It was also satisfying to watch. But either way, I think a little bit of itemization changes and the Leviathans may have been able to take that game number 1 much more cleanly, but they got the win nonetheless, and now it's time for the Tartarus Titans to try to make some adaptations. I mean, there's a few things that you could look at, but I don't think there's one pick that just cemented the late game there for the Leviathans. I mean, double Hunter comps exist no matter what. You can't ban those all the way, so maybe look towards Panitom. I can't imagine you feel good about banning the Erlang Shen, but it did look good in the early of that game, so they've got some adaptations to make.
And the Erlang was strong for the Atlantis Leviathans. We'll see if that makes it into game number 2 as we jump in to the picks and bans between the Titans and the Levis. This time around, Titans with that first pick slot. And we did see some change-ups, at least in the picks and bans for Leviathans in game number 1. We saw a little bit of priority over towards Paul, taking that set off the board immediately, because that's something that Paul, in his last few games that he's been able to grab that god, has been an absolute monster on there. I believe he had one set where he had gone 9 and some odd up against the enemy team. In fact, I can pull those up. He had a 3-1, a 9-2, a 6-1, and a 7-4 in the last 4 times that Paul has been able to grab that pick. So it has become a very hard carry for his team So seeing that one consistently banned away, probably from here on until either Set falls out of meta or Paul gets bored of playing Set, might be a good call for Leviathans. But for the Titans, they'll start out their bans with a dodgy.
Yeah, that is going to be the call. Leviathans aren't going to immediately go towards a ban like that. Just going to stick with the meta for now with that Yemoja. That's a pick that both of these supports would gladly take in that first pick position. But the Titans are going to make #1 adaptation, and that'd be the Cernunnos getting banned. So no more Cernunnos in the Double Hunter squad. That one was, something that is going to bring a lot of early pressure. And I suppose if you can just try and put a thorn in their sides, taking one step out of the equation could limit what the Leviathans are able to do. The Leviathans are just going to stick with the Morgan and then the Cupid ban. So actually, the Leviathans are forced into, are you banning the Set here, or are you going to let it through? There's a few other things that I could think of that you might want to take away, but like I said, I've been watching Paul for a bit now on this pick, and I tend to agree with you. I wouldn't imagine they want to give it over to him.
No, I mean, even in the one of those 4 games that Paul lost, he still had a 3-1-6 KDA at the end of that one. So even when his team is losing, Paul is still able to put up some good numbers on a pick like that. And I imagine that's what's running through the head of Leviathans is, do we ban the Set away, keep Paul away from that pick, force him to go a little bit further into the God pool, or do we let that one through and risk it? Answer to that one is no. Third ban from the Leviathans, it will be Set, comboed with the Morgan Yemoja, and then a Vulcan snap lock for the Tartarus Titans.
I saw the second that Set get banned, Paul said something, and I imagine it was, all right, get me Vulcan. Like he's just ready. He said, get me Vulcan, lock it in right now, and he was ready for it. I even saw a bit of a smile, so maybe he was like, thank God we baited them. I actually wanted the Vulcan over this Set. So we have to see what Paul's able to do on a pick like that. It's going to bring a ton of objective pressure, as we always say. That turret helps with early Pyromancer pulls. It also just means you can farm the map extremely quick. But with the Cernunnos being banned away, Leviathans are going to grab Ishtar first and foremost here. You can only assume for Zapman and actually run back the full duo lane. I got no problem with that.
No, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Say the Leviathans, Ishtar, Ymir as the first 2 snap lock, but it will have to be some change-ups to the Titans at least, because that Set is still banned away, and because Vulcan gets locked in. Won't be seeing the double assassin mid-jungle combo. Though I wouldn't hate to see Layers just immediately snap lock into that Susano one more time. Had quite a few amazing plays throughout there, whether it be triple Typhoons, had a triple pull at the bottom side of that mid-Harpy camp pull around Fire Giant at one point later on into the game as well. So a solid pick could be for Layers to grab that one here. But the Tartarus Titans are definitely taking their time on deciding if they want to snap block their jungler and now, if they want to hold on to that pick. But I don't know if I want to give Susano over to Panitom, if I'm being honest, Trelly.
Yeah, if I had the choice, I would certainly take it here from the for the Titans, just to make sure that the Leviathans don't get the chance, because Panitom has just looked so solid on that pick. But I imagine there is a lot of the Titans want to try and cement for themselves here. More often than not, you want to try and grab either one of your tanks, because they're going to take a ton of bans, and I think you could double dip into the Guardian bans just because of the meta we're in right now with that. So Titans need to think, is SOT going to go back to the Athena? It didn't have the highlight performance, but definitely was some good initiation, and it looks like they are going to switch it up. At least, I mean, we saw Layers play this, so I guess we don't cement it into the solo lane, but at the very least we're going to see some Guan Yu, followed by the Khepri. So 2 frontliners at the very least. Whether it goes over to Layers in the jungle or over to Sot in the solo lane is yet to be seen. Again, I wasn't too impressed with the Guan jungle, but it got the job done, so what can you say?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those games where it could have been on any other pick and probably still been just as fine, no matter the situation. Back over to the Leviathans with Cernunnos ban. Could open this Ishtar to maybe go into mid for Sheento unless they want to grab something else.
Ooh.
For now, it will be Susano. Back over to Panitom. We've seen what he's done in his last 2 games he played at a 20-0 in his last 2 Susano games. So we'll see if he can keep that undying streak going up against the Titans and maybe extend those kills up a little bit more. For Leviathans, they jump into their second wave of bans, knowing that the mid solo, potentially, with the Guan Yu, still maybe even some jungle, and then the Khepri. They're going to call the bluff on this Guan Yu going towards solo. Leviathans ban away Athena from the Tartarus Titans.
Yeah, I imagine they think that's a Layers pick, and I tend to agree just because of what he's been playing. It doesn't have a terrible matchup into Susano, actually. You're able to, stop a lot of what he wants to do. The knockups, the pulls aren't going to matter until Lou Assault, and also you've got the cavalry charge to try and run Panitom down. But just because of how much we know that Panitom likes to power farm until the late-ish stages of the game and then start getting real active on the Susano, it's still a scary thought. Hades and Athena going to be banned land away here from the Leviathans, as well as the Titans. Going to go with the Cthulhu and the Artio, taking those away from Haddix. Looks like solo laners still to be had for both of these squads is on the brains of these teams. Now we get to see what the Leviathans will go for. Last time it was the Xing Chen, but so far there's, I mean, it's not a terrible Xing Chen game, but you don't have any auto attackers yet, right? That was the case last time. It's like, oh, there's 3 auto attackers. Xing Chen's going to get some value. Looking at the Titans draft, you got a Guan Yu, a Vulcan, and a Khepri. That doesn't scream to me value from Furious Roar.
So I'm trying to think maybe what other Guardians could be picked up to go to the solo besides there. Atlas is something that SOT has ran in the past. Could be something to keep your eyes out for the Tartarus Titans at least, maybe. If Haddix wants to reprise that and take it for himself. For now, he'll hold on to it. It'll be a Huang pickup for the mid lane. So Zapman back on the Ishtar. Did manage to get 2 kills last game, so it's now 7 kills away from his 2,500 milestone, but
he only got 2?
He only got 2. In his last 3 games where he was 13 away from his milestone, his last 3 games, he's only gotten 2 kills in each of those ones. So
we got to stop bringing it up because he's just never going to have a pop-off performance in this case.
At the rate it was going, I was thinking it was going to take him 13 games to get those 13 kills, but he's currently now 7 away. We'll see if he can get a few more in this one to himself that much closer, at least in week number 6 of the SMITE Pro League. But as the option goes back over to the Tartarus Titans, Charybdis seems to be the hover, maybe the call for the Titans Hunter.
Yeah, that's a pick that I also would not mind. I think Stuart has been having a good performance. Anytime he can get a nice safe pick over in that duo lane, I think Stuart looks very comfortable. So Khepri, Charybdis, not going to bring the most pressure, but I think it's going to cement you a very decent team fight, as well as you're going to be safe in lane, and that's probably something the Titans are valuing here. Finally get to see if Layers is going to take that Guan Yu into the jungle. And that doesn't exactly answer my question, but I'm pretty sure Layers will take the Ratatoskr in that regard and give the Guan Yu over to SOT, as well as the Charybdis log. Of course, there is some switch-ups that could happen, but for my money, that's probably just going to be SOT taking the Guan Yu. And now we get to see what Haddix wants to play, of course. Held on to the ambiguity of his pick, wanted to probably get a counter matchup or at least something strong into what Haddix was going for.
Yeah.
And we get to see the Haddix Horus solo. This is a pick that he used to love a lot on the Bolts. Haven't seen it in a bit, but does bring a lot.
We were wondering if this was a Bolts/Haddix exclusive whenever he was playing it over on that squad. Seems that he's been able to bring it back over now with the Atlantis Leviathans as he locks that in for his final selection on the team. So looking at the Tartarus Titans, some big AoE damage, at least out of Vulcan, some decent zone control there, some strong chase down between the Ratatoskr and the Guan Yu, and then maybe even a little bit of safety for the Titans with this Khepri. So for the Leviathans to kind of face off against this, you always have to play around that Khepri, that Scarab's Blessing. Do you think that the Leviathans have the means to try and play around an ultimate like that?
Yeah, they have good burst, they have good all-in potential, and that's usually what you want into a Khepri, right? You know, okay, there's going to be a Huang coming, we're just going to res off that, then the ult's down, we can look to fight after the fact. But they have so many of those abilities that could certainly try and proc that Scarab's Blessing. I mean, you got to watch out for the Typhoon, you got to watch out for the Dueling Dragons, and Zapman doing some crits late game is also going to be really intimidating. So I imagine they have enough that they can, you know, diversify their damage and try and bait out that Scarab's Blessing, but late game, I think the Titans are looking real solid here, what they've drafted. A very traditional SMITE composition, right, of just one of every class, and the dive is going to be clean, as well as some team fight presence. But I'm excited to see Leviathans use this Horus. As you said, we've been seeing it a bit from the Bolts as of recent, but it's been such a long time since we've actually seen Haddix pilot this Horus. So I'm going to see how the Leviathans are able to adapt to that composition.
Yeah, it's actually, I think, one of every class on both sides of the board here for these two teams. Not so often that we begin to see that with some of the way that the meta has been developing there. But as far as the Leviathans are concerned, having this Horus is going to give them a little bit of extra sustain in their regard, some sustain to match when you have this Guan Yu out there. So, Charlie, do you think that anti-heal is going to be a large necessity? I mean, it is just a Horus, just a Guan Yu, not an insane amount of healing, but do you think that's something that's going to be on the mind of both these teams?
I imagine both of these teams are going to want anti-heal just for, even if a small amount of healing like that, it does start to add up, especially if the fight takes a while, especially around, you know, fire giant dances, things like that. So even though the Guan Yu and the Horus aren't just going to be topping everyone off consistently, you don't want to deal with that amount of healing for that amount of time.
Well, we'll see if the Atlantis Leviathans can close this one out in 2, or the Tartarus Titans get to bring it up to game number 3 to find out. We got to jump into game number 2 with Dulcin and Mifflin.
Could be the final set of the weekend. Miff struggling. We're limping across the finish line here.
I just did 500 sit-ups and 10,000 squats, man. It was exhausting.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. I thought
so
you
many
did.
push-ups.
I thought I counted 10,001 squats, but
wow.
you know, close enough. You lose track at some point. I understand. We're limping across the finish line here, but no, we've got a great great conclusion to the Titans versus the Leviathans. What could be the last set of this weekend. 8 sets of SMITE here this weekend. Next week, gonna be a bit busier as well. I'm sure the Titans would love to push us on to a game 3 here, Mifflin. They got Layers, playmaking style jungler, and the Ratatoskr. Gonna need a bit of it. I mean, there was a nice pull at the end of game number 1.
There was.
Didn't see much of the Susano outside of that.
No.
So I think Titans fans and probably Layers more than anyone else hoping that this rat can really hit its stride.
Yeah, hoping that Panitom doesn't, Panitom him on the Susano, right? Like, if Panitom takes your pick and then just does it to you.
Think about Panitom the other day on Susano.
Oh, you mean where he was like 24-0 or whatever?
We can talk about the Valkyries now because they had a really big win today.
So we weren't before? We couldn't talk about them before?
No, I'm saying it's okay, I think, for us to not feel bad about, like, bringing up Panitom, like, absolutely smattering the Valkyries on the Susano pick now because the
we
Valkyries
both felt
got
really bad about that.
Right, I felt terrible. You were looking forward to it maybe more than I was, but...
I'm in that Reddit thread, just spreading hatred.
Good Lord. But Panitom has already found success in the last few sets, in reality. It's been a near unstoppable pick. One of the most potent player-god combos I think we've seen in the last couple weeks. The question is, Miff, does he have good targets to continue that tear?
I love the Susano into things like Vulcan. You love it into Charybdis after. You might just love it into Guan Yu now. Panitom put some pressure on SOT. Gonna be a while till SOT is able to resustain all of that. Maybe once he hits level 3, he'll pick up that heal and help him out. Otherwise, he is super far behind, SOT that is, on potion economy. Sitting on the 2 HP pots as opposed to the 4 held by Haddix on the other side. But, yeah, I'm not concerned about Panitom's ability to get involved. Even just catching Layers in the jungle, I mean, walk to his speed and just do it.
Yeah. Well, look, Panitom, he's going to be doing that on Susano or Erlang, Shen, or any pick in between, it feels like. And a good rotation out from Layers early. It's a small moment, but picks up the Scepter and helps out the duo lane of the Titans a little bit. It was a quiet game from Aror and Stuart, really the duo lanes in general, but felt like Ronngyu, that Shards of Ice at the end of game number 1, really came alive on the Ymir, but had put together some good freezes and good walls up to that point as well. And with that, the Leviathans keep up this double Guardian, this time not double Hunter, but aggressive style of typical support type pick play, but this time it's a Horus instead of the Xing Chen. A pretty strong historic pick for Haddix. Maybe allows a little bit of pressure to invade blue. Layers will zap some damage towards Haddix, but I don't think anyone's getting snuck up on here.
Layers has Scepter and parity in the level department, so maybe a slight advantage over to the Titans around this blue buff. SOT, he's going to leave the defense entirely up to Layers. Maybe you don't want to do that.
My goodness, that's a lot of damage from Haddix and Panitom as well. And what you are praying for now is that first blood for the Leviathans, for Panitom, is not the start of a snowball
Dave.
In this game, but that is a perfect start for the Leviathans and their jungler.
Dave, the unexplainable rage I would be feeling if I were in Layers' shoes right there. I'm a jungler. I couldn't give less a care about your blue buff, SOT. This means absolutely nothing to me. The only reason, I'll tell you right now, the only reason Layers is there is because he doesn't want SOT to complain. And then Sot leaves, doesn't defend his own buff, and you die for it. If I'm Layers right now, I'm telling Sot to kick rocks, and good luck.
You're telling me the only reason you as a jungler ever
I'm
getting
there
a blue
for the
buff,
farm, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm primarily there because I've had soul laners just cry to me about that buff. Ad nauseum. Every jungler in the chat right now will back me up. When there, no one cries, no fury, like a solo laner scorned of his blue, man. That it is the absolute most annoying thing on the planet, and Layers was trying his best to avoid that interaction.
Well, unlucky for Sot, loses his blue and an assist on his lane opponent. And now you wonder if Panitom is in a position where you're going back to that blue buff on respawn.
Gotta think so.
Yeah, you would imagine, wouldn't you? Has Brawler's Beat Stick as well, so limiting the healing that Sot's going to be able to do. Already off to a really, really good start. A little bit of anti-heal for Paul as well. Early Divine Ruin on the Vulcan. Again, some sustain for Haddix, maybe notably early on. But I talked about the snowball. Is it rolling? Panitom would like to keep it going. Aror, no Scarab's Blessing yet. And a kill for Zapman, and that is simple from the Leviathans. And an easy rotation in from the Susano.
Man, clears out one of the Oracles, ticks over to level 5, looks over the duo lane and says, yo, Auror's not 5 yet? Forget the Oracles. Let's go get involved on the map. It's so much easier to gank the duo before you have to work through 2 lives before you hit pay dirt. So Scarab's Blessing unavailable, as is Auror's Life. An easy pickup just there. I think I just heard Vulcan ultimate? Yeah, Paul slammed wave. I wonder what that's about. Just wants to get to the Greater Scorpion, I guess.
I guess you're going over to the Greater Scorpion. Maybe go back to base here at some point and just reset. Paul at that point's got to be thinking there's not going to be a lot of fighting happening in his lane anytime soon.
Yeah, the boys are bleeding out. I'm just going to get my farm.
I'm kicking back, farming up. Paul doesn't care about any of your fighting. He only cares. It's like that's the mid lane mentality, right? Junglers don't care much about the blue outside of keeping their solo
mid laners don't care about their team.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man.
They
They're
just want to
selfish.
farm.
They're different, bro. Mid laners are a different breed for sure.
A good one. We love
You know,
it.
we've actually talked to Paul in the past, and he said one of the most annoying matchups he has in the league is Sheento, because he hates being behind. It's his least favorite thing, and Sheento is just ahead.
Do we think the Leviathans have kept that pace, though? I don't know if I've seen Sheento
No, it's not the same.
I don't know if I've seen him as egregiously ahead as we did like throughout Season 8. I mean, like because his team is funneling farm. Of course, we've had games where Sheento just gets ahead with kills or whatever. But
yeah, I'm thinking Sheento like sees Panitom putting up these wild numbers. Is like, all right, you can have red experience sometimes, buddy. You can clear a green buff, you know.
Well, that's if he's a team player. On the flip side, he's probably thinking, hey, you don't need as much because you're killing them anyway. Give more farm back to me.
Either give me the kills or give me the camps.
Yeah, one of the two. Right now, it's a gank onto Panitom. Sheento's going to take some damage. Dueling Dragons, no good, but Haddix on his way in from solo does force the Titans back momentarily. So, Earthshaker not bad. Clip some damage onto Sheento. Really needed those Dueling Dragons to connect, though, to maybe give the Leviathans a chance.
Yeah, it was a really smart ultimate from Paul, essentially saying, hey, man, don't keep walking forward. Sheento does face tank it, but I think there was a moment of hesitation there, so the Dueling Dragons doesn't actually find the full value. So, good play from Paul. Also catches the wave, so it doesn't get zoned too much in the farm department. Maybe will happen to him here, though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's happening.
Oh, no, the snowball is beginning. It's starting. And Panitom, you gotta take him down here.
He's
but
still
no!
alive!
The double knock-up, it's simply too good. There's a Scarab's Blessing on
No
Layers.
way!
It's procced. And Panitom lives
No!
and Layers doesn't. Oh, it's heartbreaking for the Titans. The Leviathans can simply do no wrong. Oh no, it's a 2-0-2 start, 100% kill participation for Panitom.
Layers has got to be seeing red now, right? Like Aurora's just standing on tower line. Get me out of here, bro. I don't want to be near Sheento. What, you expect me to dash on him? I just died once. Gotta die again, I guess. Tough stuff, dude. If I'm Layers, I'm telling the whole team to kick rocks now. My man can't not catch a break. And you know the real poetic justice of it?
Is there some?
Layers absolutely knows for a fact that at maybe his next speed buff or the one after that, Panitom's just going to be there.
Panitom's going to be there in the next couple of minutes. And why wouldn't Panitom be? He's got tier 2 Hydras. And I'll turn into a really big bursty item here in just a moment. So it was the threat of the first kill around blue buff that's now been realized, and maybe a fumbled play here or there, but
good lord.
A hand-delivered early lead to Panitom and Paul, and another one for Sheento. That's all the damage Layers has got.
Panitom's chasing, bro. No, Layers.
No, Layers.
The pull's down.
He's
pulls
fine.
down.
He's fine. He's fine. He's fine. He's fine. He's okay. It's all okay.
Yeah.
Oh no. Aror doesn't have Scarab's Blessing.
Hold on.
You gotta get the kill.
Okay.
Okay, they got it. Panitom flies a bit too close to the sun. And Layers needed that one. It's Aror who ends up getting the kill, but more importantly, it's Panitom who's off the map.
Just anything to stop Panitom from doing whatever he's doing, man. That is hyper-aggressive play. Nearly turns it around, but still is able to put out some pressure, still puts the pick onto Paul beforehand, and still sitting one level in the lead. He's put Sheento 2 levels up as well. You know Paul's angry. Layers is angry. The Titans are probably just angry with the pace of the game so far. And it's not as if the Leviathans, like, composition falls off. It's not as if this draft is going to get a little bit weaker till the late game, and the Tartarus Titans say, all right, we could just buckle down and catch them there. Late game scaling for both these teams, I might straight up just favor the Leviathans. They've also just got a lead in the early as well. I'm thinking the Tartarus Titans need to pick up their pace.
Well, the problem is the pace that's being set by the Leviathans has been Panitom, and he has got a wealth of gold in that back pocket, at least experience even for layers. It's just going to be Panitom and Ronngyu right around this Pyromancer, and the Titans.
Did they just get it? They just get it.
Yeah, none the wiser. It's simple for the Leviathans when these two are as strong as they are. All right, Haddix makes it 3 just to confirm it, but that's an early, right-on-time Pyromancer. No opportunity for the Titans to really even rotate over there. No ward coverage on that side of the map either. Wondering if the Leviathans maybe start to feel comfortable with gold. Dual lane has stayed pretty quiet. And it looks like more health and prot tread for Zapman here into the chin size after the Devour's gone, where Stuart's looking for crit. Feels like where Panitom goes, Smith, the Leviathans go.
Can I get a look at the golden pocket? I didn't realize that SOT was down an entire item. It must have been a while since he's back. Yeah, 2,300 sat on here, so SOT access to the teleport. We'll have a full item on this bag. So that trade that we had been seeing being so one-sided for Haddix, I suppose.
Well, Layers goes Transcendence. You were wondering about picking up the pace.
Yeah, he's doing the opposite. That's a slow pickup. You need some stacks.
Oh, no.
No, he's okay.
Need some of those stacks right now.
Is he okay?
Again, as far as being on the map, yes. Mentally, with the way that this game has gone, probably not. Sheento not clipped by the Earthshaker, and important that he dodged that.
The beads.
Also gets rooted.
Oh my
Paul
God.
with a fantastic play. A solo kill onto Sheento with Aror hanging in tow. I wonder, there's Typhoon here. Does Panitom have the range? Nearly does. Paul lives. And Paul with a big play for the Titans.
Man, Paul just did it on his own there. That was a crazy play. Pre-beats the root from Sheento, says, look, I win this DPS battle, and absolutely does so, even after whiffing the ultimate. Good knowledge from Paul, realizing that, look, Auror's nearby. No matter what, I've got a Scarab's Blessing coming my way. I can play on the tower line here. Exactly what you need to see from the mid laner of the Tartarus Titans, from anybody, really. Just get something rolling. Something working for you on the map. Keep this gold and experience from ballooning too far out of control. And you even strip away some of the resources from Panitom. Getting that Typhoon off of him means it's going to be a little while till he can get active again.
That's right. Going a quarter of the way back. And interesting from Panitom, looks like a bit of defensive itemization right after the hi-rez.
Probably Magi's.
Yeah, it has been Magi's in the past. It slows down the damage a bit, but maybe that opens the door if it does end up being Magi's to W-keying a bit harder. You're not going to get caught out by an instance of CC here or there. Titans have slowed down the gold bleed, still a bit down. This would be an important fight to win, but the Gold Fury, there's simply no opportunity for the Titans around the Gold Fury, at least. Haddix uses the beads, dashes away, and a clean escape for the Leviathans.
The pathing from Ronngyu there was just perfect. Walks directly at Paul. Says, look, man, I know you got like one of the longest range snipes in the game, and you just out-secure us. What if you weren't in range? It puts the wall right in front of him. No response from the Tartarus Titans here. Leviathans have now taken the Pyromancer and the Fury, and they lose nothing on the map. Tartarus Titans not even able to pressure the Tier 1 mid tower. That is tough stuff, man. The Leviathans in peak form.
Yep. The staff of Mirrodin now for Paul, so a lot of these fights you'd expect to be started off or in the middle of the fight. Continued on with that Earthshaker. Should do a good bit of damage, and maybe now that's the line to follow. Is how can we facilitate Paul throughout the rest of this game? Maybe what the Titans are thinking. Yeah, Panitom rather, going in on the layers.
Layers, you started backing? Oh.
That would have been tough to watch, just as this is for Panitom. Uh-oh, Panitom has now dropped a couple kills in a row. Doesn't get a kill onto Layers, and now gets deleted by the Titans as well. A double freeze from Ronngyu, but the Titans have positional advantage. Dueling Dragon secures the escape of the Horus, and needed. And the only casualty is Panitom, who's died now a couple times in a row, and that door creaks ever so further back open.
Man, Panitom is just getting a little bit too big for his britches, I think. Let the Southern show. These are hyper-aggressive plays that aren't going to net you anything, really. The best Panitom gets from killing layers there is the kill on layers, which, you know, not without value, but when you're as valuable as you are, as the Susano in the team fight, with that Typhoon ultimate, how strong it is to strip away some of these resources or pressure the Scarab's Blessing, maybe you want to hold it until a little bit closer to the Pyromancer spawning up, or until you're in an opportunity where you can look towards a tier 1 tower. That looked to me like a play where you're just going because things have been going well and you expect them to continue to do so. I don't think that's a risk that he needed to take.
No, fair enough. And look at how the pace of the game has changed, where Layers has started to catch back up now. Still a hefty gold lead, about 2,000 or so, but it hasn't been the same Panitom. All right, we're going to facilitate Haddix around this blue. Okay, we're going to see if we can put Paul on the back foot. They still can!
Oh my god.
It nearly did, but again, another kill escapes.
He's dead again.
Clipped by the Earthshaker, and Paul with another. The Titans now 3 times in a row have gotten a kill onto the Susano. And it's right back to the Pyromancer, barring a steal.
Stu's already made the rotation.
Steal.
Dueling Dragons. Not going to take it this time. The Tartarus Titans confirm it for themselves. Does not go unanswered. Good eyes, Doug. As Zapman does not match that rotation and instead continues to push his lane. We'll have to contend with Layers if he decides to stick around. Heads back to base. Good stuff from the Tartarus Titans again. These Earthshakers from Paul have been right on the mark. Panitom cannot escape them.
Yeah, difference has got to be not having Panitom in these last few fights. 3 deaths in a row. Dying spree. Killing spree is 3 kills in a row. Should there be one if you die a few times in a row without getting a single kill?
Feels a little toxic, doesn't it? What would they be? Like 3 in a row? Not good. 4 in a row? Dunce. Like 5 in a row? Like, go look at the corner.
Timeout. You have to sit in the corner. You have to sit in
6 in a row? We ban you. You're trolling.
You probably are. You're probably getting reported at that point.
Oh, for sure.
Panitom not under the threat of that just yet, but would like to get back to, you know, what was happening in the first 10 minutes of the game, all the killing and the assisting. Cares a lot about the blue buff now that he needs a little bit
Don't worry, Haddix, I got it.
He needs a little bit of help and takes the gold and the experience of the blue buff. So he has been, I mean, he's been sitting on Brawlers and Hydras, gets some Mag Eyes, which helped in that last fight, but in the meantime, Layers is stacking up that Transcendence, gets the Jotuns as well, and has slowly started climbing back up the leaderboards. Wonder if this is the type of game where the 2 hunters are like confused as to what's going on. We have seen less than nothing happening on the left side of the map, outside of an early kill for Zapman. This one technically over towards the left, and a triple stun from Zapman.
Where's the wall?
Might keep Ronngyu alive. Not going to use it. Shards of Ice instead. Dunk in from Layers, and it's a Roar for the 2nd time this game. Grabbing a kill. A rotation through, though, from the mid lane. Might put the Leviathans within striking distance, but no, it's Ronngyu down, and the Titans on the Fury.
Still got a couple of impact ultimates. Haddix, Panitom, Sheento, all holding on to their cooldowns. Paul, no Earthshaker means no confirmation for the objective. The Tartarus Titans, make no mistake, have advantage, but they got to play safe here.
Oni Fury chunked, Oni Fury confirmed by the Titans. Zapman pulled in as well. Makes no mistake on this dash. Turns around and makes his way out. And now the Tartarus Titans really move themselves within striking distance ahead in the experience department and close that gap up as far as gold goes. Experience largely for Aror, though, level 14, where Rongyu's been bullied just at the wrong times. Those last couple of kills actually helping Aror pretty handedly. Ends up being a decent turnaround here in this game, Mifflin, for the Titans. In a fight Panitom probably would have liked to have some type of impact on, but I think Layers with this Ratatoskr been able to weather the storm pretty effectively.
That's a big Earthshaker, connects with the Ronngyu, drop low, Dueling Dragons, whiffs wide, but Panitom finally finds one.
And finally back in the kill feed is Panitom, but again, is he gonna get punished by Paul? The damage connects
Still alive.
in, dashes out and away. Paul now being chased down by Haddix, who hasn't taken much damage. SOT left on the run as well, and a duck from Aror, but blocked out largely by Ronngyu. Sot may die where he stands, but no, the Scarab's Blessing confirms his escape, and Aror makes the big play with the ultimate. Ends up being a 1-for-none. Leviathans finally with a clean win.
Layers caught in that fight before he's allowed to channel the ultimate. Panitom hunts him down, finds the value, finally putting another in the kill column. So that thus ends the death streak. We didn't hit dunce just yet, just threes, which, what did we say that was?
Just death spree, I think.
Oh, just death spree. We'll
stink.
workshop
You said
that for
you
sure.
stink.
We'll workshop that for sure.
I'll put the timeout chair away. We're not getting there yet.
No. Panitom clears it. But even then, it's a fight where the Leviathans, I think, would have liked to have get a little bit more. Had Sheento been a little bit further forward, would have been able to follow up on the walls from Ronngyu a bit more easily. Zapman not quite able to get fully involved in that team fight either. It really was just Leviathans move forward, fight starts to go south, Panitom finds his individual pick, and then the Tartarus Titans start to surge forward themselves.
Oh.
Wait, what'd you ooh?
I was wondering if Panitom was just going to completely hang out and see if he could pull in Stuart, but...
That's a Charybdis, man.
Well, I know. Yeah, but that's Panitom, man.
That is Panitom.
He's been going for it all this game. Some pings drop down from the Leviathan, so Panitom will be left empty-handed. And Stuart didn't even walk past the Tier 2, the opening to that side of the jungle, smartly so. Tier 1 no longer on the left or the right side of the map. And still one tower for the Leviathans to collect over in mid. Barely hanging on to life is the Tier 1 over in solo lane where Sau's been able to push down. Bit of pressure. You got to be right here. There's got to be no way. You'd figure if you're the Titans, you'd have objective confirm with the Earthshaker.
It's dropped low.
And the Titans, they've committed onto a 21-minute Fire Giant. Earthshaker doesn't confirm it, but the Titans are able to get it nonetheless. It's still a double freeze from Ronngyu in the Fire Giant pit. Panitom chasing down the back line, and Panitom gets the kill onto Stuart. An ult forward from Haddix, followed by the dash, followed by the knockup. The Leviathans, they miss out on Fire Giant, but they are starting to stack the kills.
Aror pulled back in. Panitom credit for the double, but Haddix has got eyes for more. Slow connects onto both, but Layers and SOT able to reset themselves. Leviathans may not have gotten the fire, but they've at least taken out two. That call is ridiculous, by the way. That was a Hail Mary, mulligan, coin toss in every term of the word, especially once that Earthshaker misses confirmation.
Do you know what a mulligan is?
It's like when you send all your cards back.
Well, in golf, it's like a do-over.
Yeah, it's like a do-over on your hand.
I didn't even realize it was a card thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, talk about the
call. I don't know. I was throwing out buzzwords hoping they'd stick. But
no, I think they did. I just didn't realize it was a card thing.
Nice.
I can't believe the Titans pulled that Fire Giant, though, with the map state in the game the way it was. And that Earthshaker, got the Fire Giant
low.
Real low.
I didn't see what confirmed it. Did you?
No, I didn't catch it. I was watching the Leviathans jump back in. I was for sure that the Leviathans were going to steal it after that. But to Paul's happiness and the rest of the Titans, they still maintain FG on 3. But what can they really do with it? I mean, they're 4,000 gold behind.
Yeah, I don't think Paul's so happy, man. He looks real angry, if I'm being honest.
He wanted the Mirrodin proc.
Yeah? You think so?
To clear the wave.
You are a chair, too. That's crazy. You're so cerebral. I think he's trolling.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Maybe he just realizes there's no fight that's going to happen. He's heat-checking his own cooldowns.
He's like, I wanted you. Okay, if a fight is about to break out, and he doesn't have Earthshaker.
He must be on instant cast, because he did the angry emote after.
Right,
he was mad at himself.
The hammer slam or whatever. Right, all right.
How does Doug catch those? Like, how did you know something was going to happen,
Doug is just my goat. Unbelievable. And the Titans get the Gold Fury anyway. This is the weirdest turn of events I've seen, where the Titans pull the FG, they lose the fight, Paul ults himself, and the Leviathans are just pushing up the mid lane here. This is a free push now for the Tartarus Titans around the Tier 2.
Levi's none the wiser. Paul's got his ultimate back. No problem as they walk into the Tier 2. But look at the flank. Panitom shows up on the ward. Has to play safe. He needs to get there quick, though, if he wants to defend.
Oh, I thought the Titans might be initiating. Panitom will be able to hover back a little bit. Ward coverage at this jungle opening. But no, looks like Panitom won't make the rotation on over. I am waiting for something else absurd to happen.
Something's gotta give, right?
I'm the little kid watching Mr. Incredible lift the car. I'm just waiting for something amazing, I guess, and that it's Layers. He's initiating now. It's found Zapman in the back with the CC immunity. has kept Zapman alive. Layers takes the Scarab's Blessing, and the other Hunter getting some killing done onto the Guardian. Here comes Haddix and Panitom, and here come the Leviathans. They're on a warpath. They've lost Ronngyu, but they've gotten a kill onto Stuart. A chase down onto Paul and a blink forward from Haddix. Should grab a kill, but no, Paul lives throughout the fight. The Leviathans press down on the gas pedal, but the ejection too strong from the Tartarus Titans. Then it looks like it's Sot left for sacrifice.
Lair is still hovering nearby. Crazy that SOT is able to sacrifice himself, make sure that Paul makes it out of there alive. Phenomenal flank from Panitom, gets involved when he needs to, even splits his targets, drops the ultimate onto Lairs, realizes Scarab's Blessing there, says, all right, well, I can at least remove Paul from the entirety of the team fight. Spends maybe 10 seconds chasing him, while the rest of the Leviathans kind of slowly work through the rest of the Tartarus Titans. Clean play and a great defense, to be sure. Had that Earthshaker landed onto Ronngyu, maybe things go a little bit differently, but with Layers not really getting the jump on Zapman, good CC immunity, I believe it was the ultimate from Ishtar that immunes that one, turns around that 1v1 as well. Each individual member of the Leviathans played perfectly in their interactions and keep the Tartarus Titans at bay.
That is the last death cry of the previous Fire Giant buff. And the next one will respawn here in the next 20 seconds or so. I have to imagine the Leviathans are not going to be willing to let it go the same way it did last time, where the Titans
they're in the lead.
The Leviathans?
Yeah.
They were last time.
Yeah, but
they've never not been in the lead.
Well, here, I forgot. Look, the Tartarus Titans are playing with so much machismo.
I know. It has been a long weekend, and the Titans, despite being behind, pull the Fire Giant. They get it. They lose the fight after the fact. Now the Leviathans, I say, we're not even going to give them the chance. The moment it's up, the Leviathans themselves are going to pull it. Is there a steal attempt, though, from Paul, from the Titans? No, Paul can't. He doesn't have Earthshaker. But the Leviathans drop the Fire Giant. And it'll sustain back up to full.
I don't like how far forward Sheento's standing right now. It's making me a little concerned. Drop some damage.
Fire Giant again.
Fire Giant's low, actually.
Whoa, it's low this time, and we still won't have an Earthshaker. Fire Giant pulled by the Leviathans. And through clenched teeth, the Leviathans get the FG Earthshaker. Oh, my God! It's on to 3. And the Tartarus Titans, they got to fight now. A double freeze from Ronngyu. And a double knock-up from Haddix. The setup from the Leviathans is gross, and Panitom knocks it down. There's now a Scarab's Blessing onto Stuart as he scurries away backwards. There's no way.
One shot.
The Titans lose this fight. It was unreal from Paul, and Paul on a killing spree. It was at the turret.
Did he walk into a turret?
Turret. Hit Zapman. And now it's a collapse myth on the last couple members of the Titans.
SOT walled off. Paul, can you be the hero for your boy? Knockup's good. Stops the CC from Haddix. Panitom still moving forward. A stun. All you need. Dash the stun. Fracture.
He's about to have
off the mark.
Back.
No way. Panitom.
He has Earthshaker back. No,
okay.
this one didn't hit, but a double knockback by Paul. That was the meatiest Earthshaker I've seen in a while. He skyrocketed up the damage charts, Paul did. I would argue unfair that the Titans don't immediately run away with that fight, but the reinitiation was so good.
How did Ronngyu live as long as he did? He's not even that tanky. Legitimately, he has 2 finished items, Dave. No way he's living through all that, but he does. And the Leviathans realize it and go back into the fight around him. But yeah, you're right. We have to talk about the Earthshaker from Paul. It's a channeled to the skies from Haddix, trying to fully ripcord the fight. Earthshaker dropped on top of him, and the Leviathans don't take the ultimate.
Oh, no, we're not fighting again. Okay, we're not fighting again. Oh, my goodness. What a ridiculous weekend to SMITE in the best way possible.
Bro, I hate Aegis. This is awesome.
This is great. I'm with you,
Tony
man.
the Tiger, dude? What's going on here?
No, I didn't roll the R's long enough.
Does he roll his R?
He lets it hang there for a minute.
It's a hanging R for sure.
Right. The Leviathans, though, have surged back into this game now. They still have Fire Giant.
On 4.
On 4 for another minute and 45 seconds. They've lost 200 gold on this power play.
But stifling.
Still 2 tier 2 towers left. Neither team has made much headway with their Fire Giant buffs. You gotta think, with a minute and a half, Titans looking for these tier 2s, or Leviathans rather, looking for the tier 2s.
I think both would like to take tier 2s, but if we're talking like right now,
I am literally talking for the next minute and a half.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Leviathans probably going to be those guys.
That's
the
slow,
push
though.
is so slow.
Super slow.
Man, they're gonna have like 45 seconds to play with the Fire Giant by the time they get to the tier 2, if even. The pacing in this game has been
just weird.
It is just a strange game. I'm keeping my eyes on Panitom. When in doubt, I know Panitom's got me. That's where the action's gonna be.
Oh yeah, Panitom. Nope. That's a Charybdis, man.
What are you gonna do about that?
To nothing. Stuart lived so long in that last fight, by the way, and didn't end up dying.
Yeah, he just scuttled away, man.
Paul can't believe it either. Everyone's actually Haddix stone-faced, but the rest of the Titans.
Haddix has 2 settings, man: stone-faced and asleep. I've never seen dude crack a smile once.
No, I've seen Haddix go like beast in one of these games and like crack a little side smile.
That's going beast is a schmirk?
Yeah.
For Haddix, I guess.
Well, that's look, he's cool, calm, and collected, and will
So
never
cool.
let you know what's going on. Because right now, think about it. The Titans
Just
looking
like
across
me,
the
bro.
hallway. You said just like you?
Just like me, for real.
Think about it. The Titans looking across the hallway. They see Haddix there, dead focused. My timbers shivered. Quaking even.
Yo, that hit, Dave. Good stuff.
It was bad, too, but it's a state of the mental.
All right,
wow,
hold on. Focus up.
What is it with the Titans in these plays? They love the sneaky.
It's whoever their shot caller is, and it's Aror. He's leading the charge. It's Aror.
Oh, is it going to work? Is it going to happen again?
They're not catching.
They're going, oh,
Where
Sheento.
are they going?
Oh, no. Oh, no. But Sheento surely sees them. Surely he just saw Aror walk behind the wall.
He saw him. He saw him.
It was the attempt, but unsuccessful from the Titans.
The heel turn from all the Titans. Aw, shucks, you caught me. So goofy.
It's fantastic.
If they catch him, I mean, they
Right.
win the game
They
off
win
that.
the game, for
Legitimately,
sure.
it is a real threat.
It's now become a win condition for the Titans, some type of sneaky grouping. This one doesn't catch the Leviathans, but an enhanced Fire Giant now going to spawn out. How have we suddenly gone to a 7,000 gold lead? We knocked down the tier 2s, I guess, so we did end up getting the push. We've gone back, able to spend up some gold, and the gold still matters at this point in the game. Leviathans got to favor themselves around the enhanced Fire Giant, barring what would be another incredible ult from Paul. Doesn't have it because he's used it. Paul doesn't have ult.
Where did he use it? Did you see it?
No, but Mirrodin is on a 39-second cooldown.
My man is keeping that Mirrodin proc going,
I don't know what the ICD of Mirrodin is, but if it's close to 39 seconds, he just used it.
Yeah, just strange timing. Like, Fire Giant is up. That is the best confirmation tool in the game. It hasn't confirmed anything this match, but it is the best at doing it. You gotta think you value that cooldown a little bit more than having Mirrodin passive. But maybe when Mirrodin passive's procced, all of your abilities are Earthshakers?
But Paul would also strike me as the type who's smart enough to know that, like, if I hit everything, right, to your point, if I hit everything, the net gain of damage percentage.
But also, you could just hit the Earthshaker and also have Mirrodin passive. Like, if we're getting real technical.
Nah, I didn't quite catch it, but weird game.
Weird cast.
Yeah, but it's you and I at the end of a week. We're due for one, chat.
Like 36 minutes in or something.
Yeah, but this one's been a bit more back and forth. We've had more team fighting in this one. I think game 1 was like 6 kills at the 20-something minute mark. And I don't know, Paul doesn't seem super worried about it. That Earthshaker's going to be back up pretty quickly.
Have you ever seen Paul pressed even once?
No, they're just gaming, man.
Just gaming. Wow, 30 seconds is a long time on Earthshaker. I wonder if the Leviathans know. I mean, that's the real check. Fire Giant pulled out. DPS is slow. Freeze no good.
Panitom.
That should be it.
Panitom doesn't get the pull. Doesn't have pull. And that doesn't have dash. It's got to get out.
He's got Magi's.
And that's all you need to find some kills is temporary CC immunity. Fire Giant pulled yet again, but the Leviathan's more playing with it than they really are committing onto it.
Well, that's
hoping
a
to catch
good
someone
wall.
else. That is a 3-man wall from Ronngyu. And a couple of the Titans able to back away.
Where'd he go?
Panitom deletes layers, but the favor is immediately returned, and here's Haddix, but he's all alone.
Suck.
He's got the stun on SOT in the dash away, just fine this time. Zapman from over the wall finds the stun onto Aror, and Aror will be stunned, unable to move, but another big earth shaker from Paul keeps this fight in the balance.
I'm not sure that I'd say so. I mean, did it even hit Zapman? I guess the shell timing just
Whoa!
perfect. Paul, where you doing? Where you going?
Oh, I walked for it, but Stuart!
What?
Stuart got a kill on the Zapman, and Paul
Dragon's
backpedaling away. Haddix dealt damage. This is unbelievable. Stuart now jumped on Sheento, deals a killing blow to Stu, and finally something tilts, and it's the Leviathans with one extra.
I don't think the Leviathans can do
They don't have
anything.
Zapman. They don't have enough damage.
Yeah, I mean, Sheento's DPS not high enough either. It's a reset situation. Stuart's death is desynced, as is Zapman's, though. I mean, they're going to be respawning at about the same time. I think we just do it again. Go again.
Hello, darkness, my old friends. No,
Careful,
no.
we can't go any further.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's one line is all we get. Sot and the tanks, the solo laners, they've been staying alive throughout this game. One death for Sot, none for Haddix. The dynamic change of a Horus, you know, great for map mobility. And it's been great for Haddix specific mobility. We've seen just the solo Horus ults a couple of times. We could go on. I mean, if the Titans win this one, we're on to a game 3, which could get crazier at the end of this long week. Everything really hangs in the balance at this point, and it feels like every player has made some type of individual big play so far this game. Stuart trades out a kill effectively on a Zapman before dying just now. Panitom early on in the game. Paul has had some ridiculous earth shakers.
It's Layers' turn.
It's Layers' turn at 0-5, and only
the
above
next
the
one up,
supports
little
on
bro.
damage. Looking for that through the cosmos to find a big initiation.
Leviathans reestablished defensive positioning in the enhanced fire giant pit, but I'm still, as always, keeping my eyes on Panitom. Just seems like wherever he goes, the action follows. Like a scalpel in these team fights, precision removing individual members. If he can get onto Paul, that could be the opening.
Fire Giant started by the Leviathans. Paul,
He's on a ward.
No beads or Aegis. Panitom blinks the knockback, and Panitom read like a book. And the Tartarus Titans find a fantastic opening kill. And the Leviathans, now the ones backpedaling, and the Tartarus Titans, they've got command of the FG pit.
Earthshaker's still available, so Paul's got the confirmation. Leviathan's nearby. Haddix at first.
Haddix dashes in.
Great
Dueling Dragons!
And a
With a
three!
three-man stun! Oh, Lord, the Leviathans carries! They get it done, and Sheento on a double, and he deserves it. Fire Giant left, and the Leviathans get it. That is unbelievable, ridiculous, not allowed, you name it. The Leviathans carries able to get it done.
What was the call, Dave? Say it 3 times for the 3-time. Triple pull, triple freeze for the Leviathans, and now surging forward with the enhanced fire giant, this time Zapman edition. This Phoenix will go quick.
My goodness, can the Titans stand strong? Panitom's only dead for 10 seconds. Or the Leviathan's just done with this game.
You don't want to be there.
Aror stunned in place. SOT looking for the backline, found the backline, but Zapman able to backpedal. Sot rooted, Zapman goated, gets another kill, and in go the Leviathans to the Titans.
Stuart ults defensively, stun doesn't connect. Now Titan taking some damage, but so is Stu.
It's so slow. Sheento has to walk away. Zapman
Paul's
has
coming
found
up.
the damage.
3,
onto the Titan.
2.
And it looks like the Leviathans will stand their ground, and the Leviathans
What a hit for?
able to win this set in an absolutely ridiculous game number 2.
Look, hero plays win the day sometimes, but it was back-to-back hero plays from both teams that extend the entirety of the match. If I have learned anything from this set of play and every set over the last 2 days,
I've learned nothing.
it is that Aegis is a blight on SMITE, man. I don't want to see it anymore. If this is what it takes to get games like this, I'll go into the dev building myself and delete the code.
We know Aggro. Aggro, he has your number.
We got an inside man.
No, I mean, he's going to call you.
Do it, Aggro.
He's going to call you. You got a phone call buzzing right now. I can feel it. Yeah, these have been crazy, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. This one for the Leviathans felt real nice to clean up. The team fighting so strong. How many grouped up AoE things did we see this game? Earth
All of
Shakers and stuns, we saw
Typhoons,
all of them.
Shards of Ice, whatever Ishtar's ultimate's called, all of them.
Sun Spears.
They're swords, I think.
Sun Swords, Leviathans, able to take the 2-0 win to end this weekend in the SPL. I need an aspirin. Nif needs a break. We're going to go back to the desk to give us just that.
We'll go ahead and give you guys that break that you so desperately need after that one. What a back and forth exciting game the Leviathans and the Titans have put on for us. Not just in game number 2, but even game number 1 was such a crazy turn of events. But you and I, Charlie, I mean, we were sitting back in the green room watching this game go back and forth. And, you know, we always try and figure out, you know, what's a really big play from that set to take away? What's a really big moment? That last triple dueling dragon, triple freeze that came through, play of the game by far, maybe even play of the set. Leviathans come up huge.
I mean, what you guys at home have to understand is me and J-Mac, when the set's about to end, we got to walk out here. So we were sitting there, we see Panitom get picked, and we're like, oh man, probably a free fire. And then we go, whoa, whoa, and we just start running. We're like, we got to go.
Start panicking.
That was a massive dueling dragons. Plays like that make this game so fun to watch. Shots out to Sheento and Ronngyu. The freeze after also so clutch. And I think it was back and forth, but you gotta admit, the Leviathans, they had that edge throughout the entirety of this set.
I mean, games like this, just that constantly keep you on the edge of your seat, that constantly put you in that state of panic, like, what's going to happen next? You know, what's going on?
Yep.
Who's even winning at this point? I mean, when the games are so back and forth, it's always such entertainment. And while I may not echo the same sentiments as Mifflin, saying, you know, keep the H out of the game, it has definitely made this a very exciting weekend of games. Back and forth action through so many times.
Oh, yeah.
Near throws that we've seen throughout the games. So many Titan defenses as well to kind of jump into there. Titan plays. Insane plays across the board. And for the Atlantis Leviathans, they were able to find themselves a very nice 2-0. We've got the man of the hour, Sheento, standing by for our post-game interview.
That's right, Sheento with me after another ridiculous set of SMITE here this weekend. Sheento, I don't know how much of all of the sets you guys got to watch here this weekend. Have you gotten the feeling that the games have just been a little bit crazier, a little bit funkier here this weekend?
Yeah, that for sure. Yeah, I think a big fact is the Aegis, because you, with a carry right now, you almost insta-die because you don't have Aegis. You have a Susano in front and you're going to insta-die a Vulcan or a Kraken. So yeah, it's been like, kind of like, for me it's been fun, to be honest. I'm a carry and for me it's been like fun.
Yeah, look, I mean, you're crushing people with ultimates, it feels like. That game, no different. And we're actually going to get to look back at a big play that ends that game here, Sheento. Right around the Fire Giant, this game hangs in the balance. Tell me about what you're seeing here in this play.
So I'm just waiting for Haddix, because we know Vulcan doesn't have bits. So I'm just waiting for Haddix setup, and yeah, I'm looking for my ult, and I got like 5 or 4 people.
Yeah, I mean, it was a ridiculous pushback, and then Ronngyu immediately there on the follow-up as well. I saw the emotion there towards the end. I mean, those games got to be fun. From a player perspective, you know, the intensity's high. Of course, when you win, it feels a little bit better. But moments like that, is that what you really play the game for? Are those the types of team fights that really make it worth it?
Yeah, the type of feeling to like when you like do something like so well and like you're gonna win the game after like you are like concentrate for 30 minutes or something, and like always like your brain like working. After that, you have like a relief, and it's really good.
You can finally turn the brain off a bit, you march down, you win the game, and another great weekend for the Leviathans. Congrats on the win, congrats, continued solidified first seed for you guys. And that's it for this set. We'll head back to the desk to end the day.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's got to be an adrenaline rush in moments like that as well. I mean, you guys are battling for 30, 35 minutes at that point, in a very similar situation, at least in like game number 1. But you get a moment like that where, as a mid laner, that's what you're striving for. That's what you're aiming for, is to find that massive ultimate. Sheento finds a triple push there. The follow-up damage after, he picks up a double kill throughout there. And it's plays like this between Sheento, between Panitom, Zapman, all the guys, all the players on really just any of the rosters out there. I mean, these are the moments that they live for. And being able to find a big one in a moment where it's needed, gotta feel great for Sheento and the boys on the Levi's.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think Haddix also doing a great job to dive the backline and set up plays like that, because it doesn't happen just out of nowhere, right? I mean, Sheento even said it. Waiting for Haddix, knew Paul's beads were down. Once it came through, the setup is there. Especially with that whole fight starts with Panitom getting picked. I mean, it does not look good when you're fighting over EFG and you're losing this Susano, who is getting to the backline consistently and just destroying these carries. But I think it was just, you know, good play from throughout the entirety of the Leviathans, right? I think with the amount of CC they had, you can make good plays like that, you know, with Ronngyu and Haddix consistently diving, as well as Panitom too. Also was setting up. It was just a great set, and so enjoyable to watch. I echo a bit of what Mifflin was saying. It really does make the games real fun to watch in situations like that.
Yeah, I mean, it has been such an insane game to watch there. Panitom goes 7-5, Zapman 4-2 of his own, Sheento 6-1. Just impressive stat lines across. Somehow, through all of this carnage, Haddix goes undying this game. I don't know how Haddix did not die a single time throughout all of this nonsense, all of this chaos they went through in game number 2, but he's able to put up a 1-0-10 slash line for himself. Zapman now 3 kills away from his 2,500.
Are you kidding me?
We've gone through 4 games, and Zapman has not been able to hit the 13 that he needed to hit 2,500. But he's only 3 away now, so he's that much closer. At the pace he's going, he should hit it.
But
at least by game 2 of his next set that he ends up playing there. That'll all happen up into next week there. But 42,000 out of Sheento, 45,000 damage out of Paul as well. These mid laners are something else. I mean, even Zapman putting up nearly 40K of his own comparatively. I mean, sure, Stuart had some great moments, had some great picks throughout there, but when Zapman's dealing over double the damage of the enemy hunter during that one, Leviathans, even though there were points where they were down, you can clearly see that they were never out of this game.
Yeah, no doubt. I think probably confident throughout as well. I think the way they drafted their late game, they were always going to be able to get to the backline like that. You could tell Panitom was playing with a level of confidence, sometimes overconfidence, but a level of confidence that he was like, anytime I get to the backline, I'm taking at least someone down with me. And that happened more often than not. It was like 3 out of 3 times he's going to find someone until that last time. But even then, they didn't even need him. The Leviathans won that game without him in that last phase.
It has been a crazy day and a crazy weekend of Smite. Let's take a look back at all the sets that have happened over the last couple of days here. Olympus Bolts and the Dragons found victories over on Friday against their opponents. Then it was the Dragons, the Titans, and the Leviathans to find wins yesterday. And then today, a 2-0 for the Bolts, a 2-1 for the Valhalla Valkyries, a very well-earned victory for the boys in blue there. And then the Atlantis Leviathans with a 2-0 over the Tartarus Titans to end our Sunday of Smite. And now we can take a look at the standings with this one here. Leviathans still hold on to their #1 spot at the end of week number 5, 8-1. Rounds out their record. The Valkyries able to bump themselves up into that 7th seed. Tartarus Titans still 1 behind from breaking into the top 4. So at least for now for the Kings and the Oni Warriors, they can rest on the fact that they can hold on to their 3rd and 4th seed spot. But hot on their heels, again, Tartarus Titans and the Olympus Bolts with a win out of the Bolts twice this week now, bumping themselves up to 4-5. It is definitely a great morale boost for the Olympus Bolts. And the good thing is that we can take a look at the next week's schedule. And to note to the fans out there, yes, this is correct. You are seeing we have 4 days of SPL next week, all starting over on Thursday with 2 sets out there. Jade Dragons, Leviathans, Solar Scarabs, Titans. Friday, 2 more sets. Valks, Warriors, Kings, Bolts. And then Saturday and Sunday, 2 more days of triple headers. Some big sets that I'm already noticing right off the bat. Bolts and Leviathans on Sunday is when I'm keeping my eyes on. I should say Warriors and Dragons is another one there. Even the Kings and the Bolts, I think is going to show a lot of interest. And the craziest one out of all of them, Trelly, is that we're opening the week with probably the biggest set of it. Jade Dragons and Atlantis Leviathans, the battle for that 1st seed spot.
Yeah, and I would argue Scarabs Titans actually has some pretty big standings implications. The Titans are not that far away from that bottom 2 spot. With the win here from the Valks, you know, that bottom 2 is looking even closer, especially the Bolts and the Titans are sitting right there as well. So if the Scarabs could really show up for a match like that, I mean, the standings could really get wonky. You know, just one game here and there is separating so many teams. The ones you named, of course, but I think there's a lot of exciting stuff. And that was a lot of Smite, too. I didn't even realize we were doing that much SPL next week.
Oh, yeah, and it's not just next week either, Trelly.
What do you mean?
We've compressed 4 weeks previously into now only 3 weeks of play, so expect that much Smite the week after that one as well. 4 more days to happen to be on there. So just remember, 4 days of SPL that are going to be taking place next week for week number 6. It all starts over on Thursday, 1 p.m., Friday, 1 p.m., and then 11 a.m. for the Saturday and Sunday. But that's it for us in week 5 of the Smite Pro League. I've been J-Mac, that's Trelly, and on behalf of us and the casters and other production behind the scenes, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you Thursday for more Smite Pro League.